unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. This is the Black Channel.net radio program, and I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Might even take telephone calls tonight. I think I got things set up well enough here to be able to do that. We're about to find out. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. Oh, and join us you shall, because brothers and sisters, I've been on the road, I've been ruthless, I've been relentless. It has been a hell of a slog as we are putting together the newest documentary project. I had no idea whatsoever that I would be doing it, but now that I am doing it here, I've decided to go ahead and do what I usually do on my projects. I've traveled far and wide. I'm speaking to the smartest, most intelligent people about this subject. I'm seeing some things you wouldn't believe, or maybe you would. Regardless of that, though, I have been hard at work on this, and tonight I will be actually telling you some about it. Giving you some updates here. Some people will be happy, others will not be, but of course, it is incumbent upon me to do this because this is a Black Channel and this is what we do. We are the only investigative journalism outlet in black society today, period, end of discussion, bar none. If we don't do it, it just won't get done. And that is what sets us above, ahead, and apart. And I'm very glad to have you all with us here this evening. Let me tell you here, I've been traveling, I've been doing things, I've been seeing places. For those of you who haven't been paying attention to Facebook or whatever, why not? I don't know what in the world you've been doing. But as I've been traveling around here, let me tell you, there is a place in particular here, and if you all take a look, you know where I posted up from. California, California, California. I can't overstate it. I can't overstate it. After spending all this time in California now, I've really got to tell you, black people are done in California. It is over. It's over. I saw more niggas with skinny jeans running around downtown LA, running around the mall at Figueroa. I saw more Negroes unprepared for survival than I have ever witnessed in my life. It was embarrassing. It was disgraceful. And I cannot overstate it. I was going into restaurants, and I took it upon myself here as I am documenting all of this. I've taken it upon myself that I'm going to a lot of places because I want to see the lay of the land. And I want to know. I don't want to guess. I want to know exactly what's going on out there. I want to know exactly what's happening. And let me tell you, I'm seeing black males walking around with their heads down. I thought it was bad in Philadelphia. In Los Angeles, it is epidemic. I can count the number of black men who did not work at the hotels I was staying at. I can name the number of black men who didn't work at the hotels who looked me in the eye on one hand with enough fingers left over to drive. The majority of them looked like big boys. And I would like to thank all of the single mother super sluts who are having kids at Disco 9000 by a bunch of niggas you never met and don't know the name of, and ended up on Maury Povich, because these are the boys running around. They become men. Well, they've gotten grown now and are utterly emotionally incapable of taking on the task of manhood. It was embarrassing. I saw one dude, his hair looked like Russell Wilson, just straight. He's wearing this spandex leotard. Everybody had on skinny jeans, jeggings. I'm talking about the guys. They had on skinny jeans and jeggings. One fella had on pink Nike shoes. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. All these people sitting up here begging. That was the other thing that happened. There was a bunch of that. But there was something else that became very, very clear to me. In Los Angeles, black people are squatters in their own city in Los Angeles. If you go downtown where the Korean Air building is in US Bank, if you go down there on Friday and Saturday night, now you all know I hate people, I hate crowds, I hate people and crowds, and I damn sure don't like loud music with big crowds of lots of people. I don't like that. But there I was, because I wanted to see what was going on. You got to remember, the last time I was in Los Angeles was 2015 for the Slut Walk. That was the last time I was in Los Angeles. So it's been a little over a year. We're going on. It's been a little over a year, and I wanted to. Well, it's going on 2 years now, but I wanted to see what goes on. I wanted to get it for myself. Okay, let me just go ahead and just look out here on the weekend and see what black folks are doing down here. And I wanted it to be downtown because I'm seeing Asians. And when I say Asians, I'm not just talking about Orientals. I mean Asians and East Indians, people from India. I'm seeing them all over the place. I'm seeing them at the gas stations, at the hotels that are not downtown. Let me explain something to you here. I wanted to be very, very sure and very, very clear about this, which means you got to spend a lot of time out there looking at the situation and seeing what you actually see. The people spending money were Asians, white, and some Latinos. Black folk wasn't spending nothing. Let me say that one more time. I didn't say just black men. Black people weren't spending nothing. They ain't holding nothing in Los Angeles. Ain't holding nothing. I don't care where you're at. Wiener Schnitzel, Del Taco, Patillos, we can go down the list. Black folk ain't holding nothing. At the corporate level, the local level, the nothing. Let's just tell the damn truth like it is. Black folk in Los Angeles, you ain't holding nothing. And I'm saying Los Angeles, but we can keep going. If you want to talk about Hollywood, the Valley, Riverside, San Bernardino, Moreno Valley, we can keep going. If you want to talk about Indio and the desert cities, would you like to do that? Because I will run your ass all night over what I just saw. And over what I'm still seeing. I will run your ass all night. Don't you dare try to tell me what black folk are doing in California. You ain't doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. If there's a skillet of hot grease heating up in Los Angeles, the Latinos got it locked down. That's the other thing. The Latinos don't really own any major real estate as far as high rises, but everything 2 floors and down, they got that locked down. The restaurant game, it's a wrap. They got everything. You might find 1 or 2 things the black folk own. I think is that Louisiana seafood in Compton. That might be black owned. Correct me if I'm wrong, or don't bother because it don't really matter because you ain't got much else besides that. Everything else is locked down. Game had that song Roped Off, where he says, I'm at the Tam Burgers eating fries. I went to Tam Burger. Can I say that? If you notice where that picture was I posted on Facebook today from Pyru, that's right up the block from Tam Burger. Well, that's where I was, because I wanted to see where Suge Knight was killing folk. Oh, I'm not supposed to say any of that. Okay. You're damn right. This big-ass black Dodge Charger with Southern United States plates on it. Yes, Tam Burger. Can I get a Tam Burger? Nice little Latina chick opens up the window. It's this spin-around window. So you can't actually open it. It's metal, and it just spins around like some of those things you see at the bank. Or if at Comcast when you turn in your cable TV boxes. It's a lazy Susan that spins around. Well, welcome to Tam Burger. Right there in the middle of it. Right there at, what's that, Central and, right there off of Central. When you get past Pyru. Right there. Gonna make me get my stuff out here because I want to make sure I'm correct about those kind of things. Right there in the heart of everything, I'm seeing a bunch of Negroes floating around. Very nice. You're in Compton, you're squatters in your own city. I'm checking to see who's running it. Because I want you to understand, these are the people who got you cornered in on all sides. What are you running? What are you running? Tell me what's your ability to keep from being frozen out. I'm waiting. Maybe you can educate me on that. Because I'd like to know. What is your ability to prevent this from occurring? And I want to submit to you, it isn't. I want to submit to you, there isn't one. But don't worry about that. It's bedtime for Bonzo. It's playtime. At least a bunch of folk think it is. And as I was going around that place, and I went to several business establishments because I wanted to see what everybody was doing. The whites, the Asians, Latinos, black folk. Let me tell you, I went to 3 chain restaurants. I'm not going to say the names just yet. Because I wanted to see what they would do on their own. What they could do on their own. And I have to say right now, black folk in California, you can't beat the Latinos. You can't beat them. You cannot beat the Latinos. You can't. And the reason that you can't is because they've got everything. They are just too disciplined. They are too organized. They've got too much of an agenda. Everywhere I went, when they were together in groups, it was ruthlessly efficient. They are on a damn mission. Even when I'm sitting right there at the corner of, what's that, Central and Rosecrans. I'm at Tam Burger and they're just up. By the way, I was there on Thanksgiving. I went there on Thanksgiving. Everything else is closed up. Tamburger was open on Thanksgiving. Niggas sitting at home talking about cooking turkeys and being honorary pilgrims. The Latinos were working on Thanksgiving. Tamburger was open. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles wasn't. Louisiana Seafood wasn't. Tamburger was open on Thanksgiving until midnight. I know. I talked to him. You cannot beat them. You are not prepared. You are not mentally or emotionally equipped. Forget physically or financially. You are too weak mentally and emotionally to go toe to toe with these people. You can't do it. They are organized, they are disciplined, they are focused, they are hungry. And they don't have any skyscrapers in downtown LA yet. Not yet. But let me make this very clear to you. They are well on their way. They'll get there before we do. The amount of focus, discipline, organization that they have is just, it's kind of like taking on Mayweather in a fight. It's just when you realize that it's the 10th round and this guy isn't getting anywhere close to tired, that breaks your will to fight. You just realize that you're hitting him with everything you got. You're swinging all over the place. He's not getting tired. He's not slowing down. You're not laying a glove on him that he doesn't let you do. It breaks your will to fight. I'm sitting here watching these people. By the way, not a tattoo on them. All the little chicks got their hair pulled back in ponytails. They are ready. They are organized. And they are disciplined as hell. The Latinos in Los Angeles, as far as discipline, they are right up there with the Asians. They don't have the Asians' money just yet, but they are, as far as discipline and focus, they are right up there with the Asians. Right up there. And in downtown, they don't have the skyscrapers, but everything around downtown, they got it sewn up, locked down, put away. And while black people are sitting up here saying to themselves, well, we're going to try to figure out a way to make nice with people, that's not going to work. You are not going to be able to forge a black and brown coalition because you're too weak. You are too weak. There is nothing to be gained. I'm sitting up here at Figueroa and 7th at the 7-Eleven because I'm not from in town and I want to go to a place that can give you a 7-Up without having to wonder if they actually have one. I'm sitting here. They got the club. There's a club. It's a couple of doors down from Qdoba. There's a little Mexican burrito taco place right down the street from the 7-Eleven at Figueroa and 7th. Next block from the IHG, well, Wilshire Grand / Korean Airlines building / Intercontinental Hotel. Right on the next block, there's a place called Qdoba. They make tacos and burritos, and the LAPD, as opposed to being in a donut shop, they're sitting right there. So I'm sitting there watching, and there's a club couple doors down from Qdoba, and they got the music playing all loud, and They got the people sitting up there saying that it's that they're dancing around. They got the chicks sitting up in there with their halter tops on. Either they trying to get shows or they're showing off that they got shows. It's the LA way. It's the LA way. They're half dressed and they diddy bopping around. The music is all thumping all loud out there and stuff. Okay. You look up in the club, ain't no black folk up in there. You go down the street of Cadova, ain't no black folk up in there. You went to 7-Eleven, there's black folk going in, getting their swishers and leaving. But you go to every restaurant in downtown LA, including Denny's, and there's no black. You go take a look in those windows, there's no black folk in there. I'm not just talking about the staff. There's no black people working there. There's no black people eating there. What I did see was some black folk loitering a couple of doors down from this club that was a couple of doors down from Cadova. Bunch of black males standing around. There's about 3 or 4 black males, 4 or 5 black males, and 1 black female. And they're sitting there smoking their marijuana. They're not buying anything. They're not going anywhere. They're just standing around in front of a door of a business that was closed for the weekend. They're just standing around loitering. You don't live in downtown LA, and you didn't come to shop in downtown LA because you have no bags. All you got is the cigars you got from across the street at 7-Eleven. You are squatters in your own city. You went downtown simply so you could go stand around downtown. I got more done and I did more in downtown Los Angeles last weekend than any of the black folk that I saw. And I didn't even want to be outside. And I'm checking to see how my people are faring in the race war in California. The race war, I can't even say it's a race war out there. The war is over. The war is over and you're done. The war is over and you are done. Period. That's the point that I am trying to make right here. You're sitting up here standing around while everybody else is working. That's the problem I'm seeing. You are standing around while literally everybody else is working. You've got no money, just an intention. That's what's going on in Los Angeles for black folk. That's what you'll see. You go over there on Rodeo Drive. There weren't any black people until I saw these 3 black females shuffling their feet with these hideous mop weaves on their heads. They looked so damn out of place. But there was 3 of them together. There were no black males. 3 black females walking down Rodeo Drive. I don't know if they actually went anywhere to go shop or buy anything. But there they were. You drive on up to North Rodeo Drive or South, either which way you want to go. Ain't no black folk in those neighborhoods at all. And I was feeling nervous just driving around there because anybody could have sat up there and said, there's a car with out-of-state license plates circling our neighborhood. That's suspicious activity. We're suspicious. Now, here I am in this car with these big-ass cameras, taking pictures and video recording things, and I have to make more than one pass, so I have to go up and down the street, 3 or 4 times, so I can make sure I got it right. So I had plenty of time to record everything. The Asians are, the Orientals, should I say, but the Asian Orientals are running up and down Rodeo Drive. Running up and down it. They're running up and down the Hollywood Hills on Wonderview Drive and Wonderview Trail. Oh yeah, I was all over it. You ain't gonna teach me nothing about it. Don't dare try to talk your way out of it. I went everywhere. I'm gonna get to Rosecrans and El Segundo in a moment. Hang tight. Oh no, it ain't gonna be nothing nice tonight. I'm gonna lay it on your ass. But if you go up to Wonderview Trail and Wonderview Drive, Canyon Lake Drive, so you can go up there to where the Hollywood sign is. And them houses don't look very expensive up there, but they are. And all you will see are whites and Asians walking up and down those roads up there, taking their pictures and their selfies with the Hollywood sign. That's all you're going to see. There were only 2 black people up there, and they were all in my car. There were only 2 black people up there, and both of them were in my car. Don't try to lie your ass and say the black folk are doing okay in California and everything's all right. No, it is not all right. It is not okay. Everybody else has got equity in the game and has the ability to actually enjoy being in California, except black folk, unless you call being broke and bummy enjoyable. It was and is embarrassing for me to look around and see this. In places that you thought were still black dominated, South Central and Compton, forget about it. If you sit there at that corner of Rosecrans and Central, just sit there and count the cars. It ain't nothing but Latinos. It ain't nothing but Mexicans. It is nothing but Mexicans making that left hand and right hand turn. That's it. You sit there at that traffic light. Back there where it says Piru, on Piru Street, you have some Negroes there. Everything else at the major intersections, that's it, dude. They're already in force. They're already in place. They control and drive the economy of Compton. Even if they don't have the numbers yet, they got the economic numbers. Even if they don't occupy the majority of the physical real estate, they occupy the majority of the financial economic real estate. That's it. The rest of you are just squatters. Oh yeah, wasn't no Negroes working at Tamburger either. I don't know. If there is one that works there, you all might want to have him call me up. It's going to be just one of them. Sitting right there in the middle of Compton. I know this game talked about Tamburger. He didn't talk about Louisiana seafood, but okay. They didn't have any Negroes working there. Not even the token. Not even the fellow who goes around picking up the garbage around the place. Didn't even have that dude. No, the race war is on. And in California, black folk already lost it. By the way, for those of you who are not aware, if you know your gang territories and stuff, you know out there in Compton and whatnot, and yeah, you got Rosecrans there, but Rosecrans and Grand Avenue, those are some long-ass streets. I mean, those are some long-ass streets. I'm talking about dozens of miles. Because there's Rosecrans in Compton, but there's also Rosecrans I'm just letting you know exactly what the hell I was doing. So if you take the interstate all the way out to LAX and you get off on Sepulveda, and that runs up into LAX, you take Sepulveda on down, and you can make that right on Rosecrans. About a mile and a half down the street, you're on Rosecrans, you're at the Pacific Ocean. Goes straight to the damn beach. What is that? Manhattan Beach. That's where it takes you to. Rosecrans will take you straight to Manhattan Beach. Ain't no black folk there. Remember what I told you before about you'll see some black folk on the riverfront in Detroit? There were no black people at Manhattan Beach at all. I didn't get to check out Venice and all that. I didn't get to check out the other ones. Manhattan was enough for me. This big ass downhill slope, and then it's like rock climbing to get out of the thing. But when you take that hill down into Manhattan Beach, ain't no black folk anywhere. There were no black people on that beach at all. It was nothing but a bunch of white folk getting off their surfboards off the top of their cars, floating around on their hoverboards and their segways. That was all you saw. And a bunch of beach homes overlooking the ocean. That's what you see when you go down there. That's what you see. That's what's going on. That's what's happening in El Segundo. Not a bunch of, they don't have a bunch of chain restaurants out there either. They don't have a bunch of chain restaurants. And I thought that was all very interesting because if you take a look, if you Google and whatnot, they say it's one of the most racist areas in California. I can understand it because the white folk were looking at me like, who are you? I didn't even want to stop. First of all, I didn't want to park my car. Second of all, I didn't even want to stop to get out. I literally refused to go anywhere in an establishment. I didn't want to be in a place where they could close the door behind me. That was how nervous I was in El Segundo. And if you took a look at it, it looks like a little sleepy beach town. But the white folk were looking at me that way. I was like, oh, I'm not going to go nowhere where y'all got me hemmed up. I'm not going to go anywhere. No, I'll be down here at the seashore with the clams. You're not going to get me up in some restaurant or some store and close the door behind me. And it's just me in here by myself. You can say anything. Oh, no, you won't. So, yeah, I took that little trip too. Yeah, I went all over the place. I want to see who's running it. This is supposed to be Rosecrans. No, it's Rosecrans' gangster territory in Compton, if the Mexicans let you have it. But once you leave out of there and start heading west, it's over, dude. We ain't holding no real estate. We're not holding any real estate. We're not holding any power here in California. Here in California, black folk are holding nothing. I've been all over it. I've been out to the wind farm, out there east of town on 10. I've been out there. I've been to Colton. It doesn't matter where the hell you go. You can go anywhere you want to. They're already sitting there waiting. We don't have it and we can't move them. This is the result of chasing integration. This is the result of chasing poverty programs. This is the result of chasing government assistance. This is the result of not having an agenda as a people. Black folk have integrated themselves right the hell on out of California. How'd that work out for you? All I see are a bunch of bum niggas sitting up here trying to figure out how they can sweet talk some mud duck in the bed. But if you go down there where the females who look like they're worth some money, and I'm not talking about she has some, but a female that doesn't make you look raggedy and bummy standing next to her, wasn't no Negroes nowhere around. The non-black females who could actually get somebody to spend some money on them, wasn't no Negroes nowhere around them. Where all the black people go, they got run out of town. They're all hobbled up in San Bernardino and Riverside, as far as they'll let them stay. And in Compton, that's where they're holed up at, as long as they'll allow them to stay there. And that's not going to be very much longer, because I can't tell you how many signs you will pass by on the freeway out there on the 101 and 60 and Interstate 10. Oh, hell yeah, I did it. The 215. Oh, hell yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did that. Yes, I can name your freeways. I can name your interstates. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. You don't want to go there. You don't want to talk about that. Because they pushed you all out there to Compton and Riverside and Commerce and San Bernardino. They pushed you all out there. And the scary part about it is you're seeing the signs out there talking about homes in the 200,000s and 300,000s as if that's great. Well, that's going to be, you better grab it now while you can. You better grab it right damn now while you can. Because out there in Beaumont, if you keep going, oh hell yes, I documented the whole damn thing. If you keep going out 10, Interstate 10 heading back east out of California from where Los Angeles is. If Los Angeles is as far west as you can go without being in the ocean, technically, I mean, you're going to LAX. After LAX is the Pacific damn Ocean, so get off of it. You're heading back east again, away from the ocean, on Interstate 10. When you reach out there, Beaumont, they got a big-ass sign off the freeway from a builder bragging that they got great homes in the low 300s and low 400s. For those of you who don't understand real estate lingo, that's 300,000. Not talking about San Bernardino. I'm not talking about Television City. I'm talking about damn me Beaumont. And that's not the only one. And if you keep going, once you get out there to Indio and desert cities, there ain't a damn thing out there. But guess what? You're not going to find a cheap house out there either. And wouldn't that be a hell of a thing if Negroes here in the next 10, 15 years in California are all fighting to see if they can get themselves a house or an apartment out in Desert Springs? Because you can't get in Palm Springs. It'll be interesting to see if they're fighting to see if they can find them an apartment out there. And it's going to be a bunch of folks in trailers, and that's another damn thing. So for those of you who have never driven through the American desert before, and I put up pictures, and I didn't put up all the pictures, but yes, I put up pictures. I've driven through the desert 4 or 5 times now. For those of you who live out there in those areas, you will bear me witness that, especially on Interstate 10, that's a good one because that runs, Interstate 10 runs from El Paso, Pecos. There really ain't nothing. There really isn't anything after El Paso. There's just this big wilderness, basically. After you get past El Paso, you know, it's a big wilderness. You're going over mountains and things like that. But there really isn't anything between El Paso and Tucson, Arizona, on Interstate 10. There really isn't. You'll find a few towns, don't get me wrong, but there ain't nothing in that stretch. And that's a long-ass stretch. That's a long-ass stretch between El Paso and Tucson. And when you get in those deserts, every once in a while, if you look way off the road, you'll see like a little trailer. Now, I'm talking about a little trailer like the kind you pull behind a pickup truck, like a little camper. Every once in a while, you'll see that way off the road. When you go by the Indian reservations, bunch of trailers out there. Not a bunch of houses built, bunch of trailers. I got photographs and video of that too. And it's kind of ominous because if you killed somebody out there, nobody would ever find the body. It's just that vast, it's just that huge, and it's just that barren. But ain't no Section 8 housing sitting in Desert Springs. Ain't no Section 8 housing sitting in Palm Springs. Ain't no Section 8 housing sitting in the rest of those desert towns out there. This is it. This is it. This is going to be your last stand. This is where it all goes down. This is where it's all going to happen, or it isn't. But this is it. For black folk in California, this is it. You don't have a fallback position. You don't have anything else. All you've got is the few little enclaves and the few little blocks they got you left on, and that's it. And already the rents in those areas they're trying to get them to $1,000 a month now. And just understand, $1,200 a month is critical mass. $1,200 a month for black people is critical mass. That is the number at which the people who can afford to stay and pay $2,000 a month are filtered out from the people who can only afford $500 or $800. The people who are hanging on by their fingertips at $800 or $900, when you push the rent to $1,200 a month, you filter all those people out. And that's the majority of black folk in those areas. They have to get together in groups to be able to afford $1,000 a month. And they're already pushing the envelope as far as they can. They're already doing as much as they can. Right now. Right now. They're already moving in that direction now. Because they're licking their chops. Right now they're saying to themselves, well, hell, we're only an hour outside of LA. I mean, that's the way things work out there. In any direction, except west. If you're an hour outside, if you're north in Hollywood, if you're southeast in that San Bernardino, Riverside area, as far as they're concerned, well, we're only an hour outside of town. We should get the same rent and we should be able to charge the same thing they're charging in downtown. That's what they're trying to do now. That's already what they're doing. This isn't some futuristic thing I'm talking about. They're doing it right now. And I was looking around to see, okay, black folk here ought to be rock-ribbed and serious as hell. Well, I did find some rock-ribbed and serious as hell people. They were all Latinos. Black people as a group are, I would say, asleep at the wheel, but that gives the impression that they're actually A, behind the wheel, and B, even though there's a car. That's how bad it is. And yes, I got pictures and it was disgusting. But then again, there weren't that many pictures to take. In all honesty. Weren't that many to take. Dr. Claude Anderson said it years ago, and unfortunately it's still true. If you want to find the black folk in Los Angeles, if you want to find them downtown, go to Skid Row. Block after block of homeless folk. Plenty of black people down there, though. You go downtown, where the nice real estate is, we disappear. Folks stumbling around and dancing around to get their crazy checks. And that doesn't help you. Ain't a crazy check big enough in the world to sit up here and pay for you to stay. Well, fortunately, that's just California, right? Don't have that problem anywhere else, right? Why don't we move on over to Phoenix, Arizona? Why don't we go there and take a look around? Why don't we try that? Why don't we try Chandler? Why don't we do that one? For those of you, if you haven't been to Phoenix, Arizona, I really got to tell you, Phoenix, Arizona reminds me of two places in particular, and I guess they're all using the same type of design scheme, I guess. I'm not really sure. But it reminds, you go to Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got that place decorated like Florida and California with all the palm trees. In Phoenix, Arizona. They got a major beautification effort. Very interesting. Major beautification effort in Phoenix. In case you thought being in the desert would be a no man's land. Oh yeah, and in Phoenix I saw exactly one black person. One. Everything else, press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish. And actually on some of their credit card machines, it would ask you what language you want to speak, and it has Spanish first. Which language do you speak? Espanol or English? Yeah. This is what's going on. I was going around there and I was seeing, okay, surely black people, the worse the situation is, the more seriously they will take the threat. And that is not what happened. You figured that would be the way it would be, and hell no, it isn't. They're not taking it seriously. And by the way, you can back it on up to Tucson also, same thing there. Matter of fact, I'm checking in the hotel in Phoenix because I want to see what the hell's going on. I walk in through the front doors. I'm seeing the Latina chick vacuuming on the floor. I'm seeing this other Latina chick. She's the front desk clerk. There's some stumble bum ass nigga sitting up here at the front desk with his pants sagging so low. This is what the hell we're doing here. He's got this damn wife beater tank top on. He is completely and utterly unprepared for life. He's not prepared for life. And he's sitting here, apparently, I don't know if he was trying to get a free room or whatever the hell it was. It was ridiculous to see. This is in Arizona, not California. This was in Arizona. That's a nigga that has surrendered. By the way, it's the year 2017. Ain't nobody supposed to be sagging their pants anymore. Sagging went out of style in 95. You might as well be wearing hammer pants, dude. But when a grown-ass man is walking around with his drawers showing, he has given up. I'm going to leave the telephone lines here open if you want to give us a call here before we wrap things up. If you want to call in and comment, you definitely can. I won't be on too terribly long tonight, but if you want to chime in, the number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the BlackChannel.net radio program. These are some of the sights and sounds that I was witness to. And let me tell you, what you're seeing online and what you're seeing on Twitter and stuff is an absolute fraud. These Negroes are online begging for sex, and they're offline walking around with their heads down and their pockets empty. And they haven't made the connection between empty pockets and an empty bed. And it's a pretty damn pathetic dude who does not understand the relation between having empty pockets and an empty bed. You got no woman and you have no money and no woman, and you ain't made the connection. It was sickening to see. Walking up to these counters and stuff, and the Latinos would be there with their females. The Latino men were either walking ahead of their females or right beside them. The black males were walking behind them. This damn single mother epidemic has neutered these boys. It has neutered them. Mentally and emotionally, it has broken them. It's transformed them into useless, powerless eunuchs. And all they can be is sperm donors and help you to be the bummy ass broad getting a Section 8 voucher, and that's it. But then you'll want to complain. No woman is supposed to be standing next to a dude who's sagging his pants, and if you are a woman who's raised a son who's doing that, heifer, you need to get the spit slapped out of you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Don't talk to me about his damn father. You're his mother. You're supposed to be lighting his ass up the first time you see it. But you think it's cute because a powerless male won't get up and leave you, and that's the damn shame of it. The females aren't worth having, and the dudes ain't worth keeping. Welcome to California, where everybody is buying up everything that they can. Rent control is not going to save you. Ellis Act saw to that. And even with rent control, the rents are still going up so fast you can't keep pace. These people out here, the only thing they have to offer is, well, they want to brag about being from California. They want to brag about being from Los Angeles. You all need to do some talking to them about, hey, what exactly are you holding in Los Angeles? Oh, they want to sit up here and get bragging rights for saying, I live in L.A. No, nigga, you squat in L.A. You loiter in L.A. You're a decoration in L.A. For you to say you live in L.A., this is what Dr. Claude Anderson always said. You do not have a community unless you have your economy, your politics, and your social organization there. That's what a community is. It is where you hold your economy, your politics, and your cultural center. You don't have any of that there. Just a bunch of folks trying to brag about residing in a city that they don't actually live in. You hide out in LA. You hope that the rent will allow you to stay within its confines. But most black folk in Los Angeles are one rent increase away from having to leave the entire state. And I'm using Los Angeles as a metaphor, because the situation is exactly the same in San Francisco, San Diego, Sacramento. Oakland, you got 10 years to live. Oakland, California has 10 years to live. The Latinos are going to give y'all the business up there in Los Angeles, and the Asians are going to give you the business down there in Oakland. The whites and the Latinos are going to finish you off in Los Angeles, and the whites and the Asians are finishing you off in Oakland. But your pants are sagging, so you look cute to some no-good bummy-ass hood rat. So, hey, who really cares? I mean, I'm the flyest looking nigga in the evictions notice. Caller from 310, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, how you doing, TBA? This is Brother Gerald from Los Angeles.
What's on your mind?
Proud resident of Los Angeles. Well, I hadn't listened to your program for a while because last time you called, last time I called, you had a lot of hard words to say in me operating my business and dealing with my son. And the more I contemplated what you said, you were terribly right. But the point that I'm calling for today is for all of the things that you kind of railed against me, I just kind of wonder, how would you fare as an individual if placed under that same scrutiny? Because you had mentioned that you had been on social media for well over 10 years, and you got like 38,000 followers on one particular social media on YouTube.
Gerald, brother,
and you had gotten
Gerald, you're babbling. Will you get to your point? This is why I have such little patience for you. The very next thing I want you to say is, what is your question? I got folk on this line who want to talk and say something serious. By the way, brothers and sisters, this is California on the line right now. If you want to know what's wrong in California, this is it right here. Gerald, you got 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds, and then I'm moving on.
Okay, so you had made a comment to me about leadership being lacking in my business expertise and skills.
Okay.
Can you demonstrate to the listeners your expertise in as much as that you've operated your business for well over 10 years? I would suspect, based on what you had said to me, that you would have your own radio station and you wouldn't be parasiting off of the internet and these other social media situations like Facebook and YouTube and Ustream. That's my question to you.
Gerald, do you know how much a terrestrial radio station costs? Just give me what you think Tell me what you think one costs.
I wouldn't hazard a guess, but you've had 10 years.
Okay,
to
whoa! Slow down.
And you know,
if you're gonna say that you know that, then you should be able to say that. Instead of being in your feelings.
Every city in the continental U.S., every black town in the continental U.S.
Instead of you being in your, if you're gonna make that assertion, you should have something to say it.
You conquer the world.
Okay. So what you're saying is you made an assertion that you have absolutely no idea about.
No, you're trying to avoid my question by asking me another question, and I'm asking you to place yourself under the same scrutiny that you place me.
Okay.
And let's just see how your black behind fares.
Gerald, it sounds like that you are in your feelings about your failures as a father.
No, I'm not in my feelings because I've acknowledged my failures, but you seem to have a hard time acknowledging your failures.
You know what?
Right now.
You know what? Why don't I teach you how to be a father? How about that?
Well, let me just tell you one thing. As a
black man, I never talk about my people in the third person. I will give you my expertise as a father.
We're done.
Okay, I'll give you my expertise as a father with your sons. How about that?
You're not a father. You have no expertise.
Sir?
You don't have any children, so you have no background to say anything to me about
I am a better role model.
Because you don't.
I'm a better role model for your sons than you've been. I am a better man.
Talking about black people in the third
I
person,
am a better man and a better role model than your kids are.
You're not a black person?
I am a better man than you and a better role model for your sons than you are. And my time is valuable, so I can't sit here and play the dozens with you. People, that was California. If you want to know everything that's going on out there, and that guy validated everything I just had to say. There it is in a nutshell. I could not have said it or done it better myself. Emotional, deflective, completely unfocused. You should not be on the phone with me. That's the first thing. It is ridiculous as hell for you to even be on the phone with me. You got kids, child support, strapped with bills. That's what you need to be focusing on. And instead of him taking care of the future for his children and his sons, he's on the phone arguing with me. Because that is the most important thing he thinks he could be doing. Doesn't matter whether you think that I'm right. It doesn't matter whether you think that I'm wrong. There's one thing I think we can all agree on. He should be doing something than being on the phone with me. He should be doing something other than that. But you have to actually have a plan and a clue and this, that, and the other. California, California, California. I wonder what his kids think, by the way. You go show Jason. Okay. And how's that going to help y'all? That doesn't matter. Okay. Caller from 281, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, Jason, it's Travis from Houston.
Travis from Houston, what's on your mind?
Yeah, you have a great point about the West Coast. I've been to L.A., San Diego, San Francisco, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Denver. The mentality is the same in all those cities.
I'm glad you mentioned that because those are all washout cities from California. Phoenix, Denver, Vegas, Tempe, those are all washout cities. Even though they're not in Seattle, those are all places that the waste of California has washed out into those areas. So you're seeing a lot of these same recessive, redundant personalities playing themselves out there. Everybody's trying to get weed. Everybody's trying to legalize weed. Nobody's trying to build an economy, not in black society. Everybody's focused in all those areas. Everybody's focused on how can I get legal weed? And meanwhile, you're not going to have a house to live in. But you know what? I guess that doesn't matter to them either because they'd rather just hang out on the street corner anyway.
It's depressing. It's very depressing seeing black people walk around with their heads down looking defeated in those cities.
As a black man, it was embarrassing to me. I come from that Malcolm X, Denzel Washington school of thought. I walk around with my head up. I'm looking at people. I'm not walking around with my head down, but you know the reason their heads are down, brother? They know because they have no money and they have no business being there. It is very difficult for you to feel confident when you know that you have absolutely no business being where you are, a bunch of grown-ass men and women window shopping. That's what they're doing. They're just walking down the streets. They're walking up Wilshire. They're walking up Figueroa. They're walking up 7th and 6th and 5th Street and 4th when you get to the bums. They're walking up those areas and just window shopping. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, and they'll let white folks humiliate them and just take it. And I'm looking at them like, why are you letting yourself be beat down? Why are you letting them get away with this nonsense? And they look at me like I'm crazy.
At this point right now, we got so many of them who do not understand. Or at this point, brother, they're just narcissizing themselves. That's the purpose of the weed and everything else, is to detach themselves from reality so that the true gravity of how horrific their situation really is, they don't have to actually deal with that, at least in their own heads. Now, when the eviction notice shows up, everybody's got to deal with that. But right up until then, brother, they're going to fight this to the end. That's it. And what I saw was embarrassing. It was just simply embarrassing. As a black person, as a black male, it was embarrassing. I'll let you have the last word.
I agree. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed there. And I try to set up different businesses and have some, collaboration. I did set up one business in Denver, but, they're not interested. They don't want to do it. They rather take chump change and hang out by the liquor store and walk around with their head down and let, white folks call them the N-word all day.
More like white women. They figure that letting a white woman humiliate them by calling them nigger, if that makes her feel comfortable enough to let them get into bed with her, well, that's it. That's just the cost of doing business. Then you get to put up dopey internet videos with white girls calling you that in front of your face, and you're just sitting there looking stupid. That's the way that goes. Thank you very much for giving us a call, brother. Please do give us a call again. Let's get caller from 203. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Oh, whoa, is that me?
You're a caller from 203, aren't you?
My bad. I was just here to listen.
Okay.
Sorry about that, man.
Tonight's phone lines are not for listening. If you are on the line and you just want to listen, you need to hang up. The phone lines are not for listening. The telephone lines are only for callers. If you call up, you need to be because you want to speak. If you just want to listen, that's what Ustream is for. Now that we got that organized, caller from 404, you're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 404 has been abducted. Caller from 916, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Oh, well, you can give him like that gristle part.
Yeah, I did.
That little
Brown piece.
on the.
Dude, are you cooking?
Give him that little.
Are you cooking chitlins, nigga? Did you call up to give us the gumbo report? Caller from 916, put the crack pipe down.
B1, comrade.
Yeah, comrade,
B1.
nothing. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Sacramento.
And
this
what's your
GTG 2800?
GTG 2800. Okay, he's blowed the hell out.
Yes.
Hello,
B1
Mr.
Brigade,
June.
comrade.
Okay,
yes.
Right. And what's on your mind, Sacramento, California?
Well, fortunately, I see everything you're saying is true
I know you do.
because I attempt constantly. I have an endeavor to try to enlighten other people. I became enlightened from you and Professor Black Truth and Dr. Johnson. Rest in peace to Dr. Chris Wilson and Dr. Khalid Muhammad and all the rest, Marcus Garvey and all the rest. So even though I work to try to enlighten other people, so many people are lost. They won't even try to come step into the light. No matter how much you enlighten them with food for thought, they will not pay attention.
Then
So,
they leave them to their fates.
yeah, so luckily my mother blessed me with leaving me a home. So I have to wait one more year before I can sell it and try to get me some rental property down in Houston. Not Houston, but Dallas. I've been looking on Zillow, Dallas, and down in the Atlanta area. It's not good to live in the Atlanta area, but you can get you some rental property here.
And
Lithonia,
how much experience do you,
Douglasville, all the outskirts cities.
just out of curiosity,
We have to create some capital that way.
okay, just out of
Go ahead.
curiosity, because your mom's only got one house, and if you sell it, it's not like you
No,
can
she left several homes,
okay, and
but I just got one.
you just have one. Okay, well, you only have access to one then. If you sell it,
Yes.
it's not like you can sell it twice. So just out of curiosity, if you sell the house, how much experience do you have at renting properties?
Buying homes in Dallas. You can look on Zillow yourself.
Okay, I heard that
You can
part.
get a home
Okay,
in Dallas,
okay, I
a
heard-
nice one for
Okay,
100,
I got that.
100K.
I got that. And it's going to be a bit more than that if you want a nice one. But I'm asking, how much experience do you have at being a landlord renting to other people?
Just about a year.
About a year. What are you renting?
Yeah. What did you say?
What are you renting? Because I said as a landlord,
Rooms.
You're renting rooms. Airbnb.
Yes.
What are you doing? Airbnb?
No.
Okay.
I just rent the rooms out separately.
I just rent the rooms out separately. Okay. Well, I certainly hope that goes well for you. I would not sell the house personally myself. I would not do that. You should have your mother.
I'm not. That's why I'm elaborating, and I've been listening to you guys because overall I've been listening to you guys. You and Professor Black Truth. You guys, I love you guys.
Okay, well, what you want to do here, because you just said you want to sell the house, what you want to do is just see if you can refinance it and take out a home equity loan if you can. I would not sell the house.
No, comrade, it's paid for, brethren. It's paid for.
Okay, okay, the fact that you just made that statement, that means that you don't understand anything about real estate. The fact you just made that statement. It doesn't matter whether the house is paid for or not. You can take out another mortgage against the home. Doesn't matter if it's paid for. If it's paid for, that means you can get maximum equity. You might want to look up the word equity and find out what that means. But the fact that you just said that tells me don't sell the house. You don't know enough to be going into real estate. Don't sell it. Okay? Hang on to the house.
I'm not going to sell it yet.
Don't sell it. Don't even take out. Don't even tell
about $50K in equity just this last year.
Okay. Well, that's a hell of a jump in equity. Well, hang on to the house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even take out a loan against it. You might want to just see if you can qualify for one yourself. Try that, okay?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm trying to use that as a stepping stone.
Okay,
to
don't
keep
do
flipping
that.
other rental properties.
Yeah, don't do that because you don't know enough yet to be trying to do that. Okay, don't do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to become enlightened.
Okay, well, here's what you want to do. You need to qualify for one on your own without that house. Okay, leave the mom's house alone. You need to go save up enough for a down payment so you can qualify for one on your own. And leave that house where it is. Don't touch it. Don't take out a loan. Don't risk it. Don't do anything. You just need to go get your own money together and leave that house where it is. Okay? Leave it alone.
Okay.
Leave it alone. Leave it where it is. It'll appreciate.
So where's the best markets? You
doesn't.
You had an agent that was talking about Tampa, Florida, and you were talking about Dallas before as well.
Okay, here's what you need to do. Stop worrying about markets, okay? You need to worry about your ability to qualify for the loan. Don't worry about where the house is. Right now, your number one concern is actually qualifying so you can sit down and even have the conversation. Because right now, you can't do it. So get that taken care of first. You need to get you $20,000-$25,000 in the bank so you can actually sit down with somebody and have a conversation. Once you do that, everything else is going to come together. Leave that house in Sacramento where it is. One of these days, you'll get around to that. Right now, leave it alone.
Yeah.
You want to get together enough money to qualify for a loan so you can get your own. Now you will have a new one, and you'll have that one that you already know has equity and everything else in it so that you don't have to worry about being financially, you're back against the wall. And that's where you want to be. You don't want to get the only asset you have and then start. You don't want to get the only asset that you have and then jeopardize it. Because right now, you don't know enough to be able to do that. That's the only asset you have, and you're already discussing, well, how can I cash it out? No. Leave it alone. Don't risk it in any way. No loans, no anything. Okay?
Okay.
You get the money together for yourself to go get other properties.
Okay, where you don't have to go keep elaborating on that, but I speculate and assume that your vast majority of well-being is in real estate as well?
Not vast majority, but I do have pretty good experience with it. You're in California. There are areas in California that you could go, but I don't know your experience well enough to say that. Dallas is a hot real estate market. Austin is a hot real estate market. Houston, right now, I'd avoid that like the plague. There's too many people going into that market as speculators. Nashville, Tennessee is a good market, but it's on the other side of the country. I'm also a firm believer that you do not have properties that are a long way away from you. I've made that mistake in the past, where I lived in one state and my properties were in Louisiana. That didn't work out so well. So I'm never going to advise anybody to try to live in one state and manage properties in another. That doesn't work out so well. So for you, if you don't live in the Dallas area, I'm not going to suggest you buy anything there. I'm not going to suggest you buy anything where you don't live.
Okay.
The place you live is the place you know best. You know the lay of the land. You know the market better than you do Dallas. So if it were me, I'd be looking where you are. As far as you take a look at where the best properties are, and then you just go 10, 20 miles outside of that to something you can actually afford, and then you just wait.
Okay, you don't think that it's futile in California because the way you're speaking, it's like it's utterly bleak.
It's utterly bleak for the niggas standing around in the corner, yeah. For black people as a group, yeah, it's done. For black people as a group, they are done. And there will be individuals. Look, there's money in California. There's plenty of money in California. The problem is that what I'm saying is black people as a group are not taking advantage of it. Black people as individuals can, but not as a group.
No groups. It's futile as a group. Because I've seen from trying to rent rooms to people, no matter what, it's futile. No matter how you try to like negotiate and have a camaraderie and collaboration, it's just not there because the colonist oppressor mind state is rampant, and then nobody wants to deprogram. That's the harsh reality of it. Nobody wants to do. As long as everybody got some trees to smoke and some pills to pop and some drink and can kick it, don't nobody want to do nothing.
Well, that's not our job. That's not our job. Your job is to get your situation together regardless of if the rest of the world is screwing the hell off. You get yours together.
And that's what I'm working on.
Everybody else who's made their priority smoking weed, let them sit around and wait until they get homeless. And then they can go move down there to Skid Row where they can live under a car tarp and they can smoke all the weed they like when they get there. You worry about fixing yours. Everybody else, you've done your part to try to help them. You're done. Focus your resources, and your most valuable resource is your time. Focus your resources on fixing your situation, not on redeeming everybody else. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Caller from 786, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello. Good evening there, Jason. This is Demetrius from Lake Mary, Florida.
And what's on your mind?
So first, I want to start off by saying that last caller, Gerald, I think his name is, I've heard him calling before, and he is a real idiot. And I think it's people like him who would rather sit around arguing, trying to call up people's broadcast to start an argument, rather than focusing on solutions. So we need less of that. And I know he touched on the fact that he was saying that black people can't really do much better than what they're doing now. I think that, if you look at Jewish people, for example, I mean, they went from being the most oppressed group in Europe to becoming one of the richest groups on the planet. So I think when you look at it like that, I think it's reasonable to expect black people to be able to afford a $1,200 a month rent. And so, but I want to ask you two really quick questions. I hear you talking about the situation in California. Do you think we should start considering the idea of sacrificing people? I know we talk about black people that are just pretty much bumming and just really are not on top of their game. But I mean, what about other people, like black people locked up in jail or who may have addictions? Do you think like we should just kind of forget about them because of the fact that we're pressed for time and resources, and we just don't really have time to focus on that right now?
We don't have time to save people.
That's my first question. And
we don't have time or the resources to save people. That's a wonderful dream. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. People just make a choice whether or not they want to do it. But this idea that we as black people, that our goal in life is to be saviors, this is a fallacy and an idiocy, quite honestly, that we've been chasing now for decades. This is stupidity at its finest and most refined. We're not here to redeem racist white people. We're not here to redeem bum niggas and bum broads. We're not here to spend our lives doing that. We're not here to redeem them. We're not here to bring them the love of Jesus. We are not here to change their lives. We are here to be partners with them if they want to do better. But we're not here to convince them of the virtues of doing better. If you think that smoking weed in front of the 7-Eleven on Figueroa, or was that 7th Street, is the path to salvation, we'll sit there and huff and puff until they remove you. If you think you have some super secret plan that's going to prevent that from occurring, well, you go ahead and try that. But I got it on good authority, that's not going to work. Now, as far as what should be done, let me explain something to you. It took 6 million Jews in cattle cars sent to Dachau and Treblinka and Auschwitz. It took 6 million of them for them to understand these people really will wipe us out. They really will murder us and rape us and kill us down to the very last man, woman, and child. And I told you all before about this documentary, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. You can go take a look at it on Amazon. You can get it on DVD. Fantastic documentary series. I consider it to be essential. The documentary, The American Experience, Malcolm X Make It Plain, is essential watching for Malcolm X. I consider it to be more important than anything else that was ever done. It was exhaustively put together. It is everything a documentary is supposed to be. And The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich is the other one that I consider to be essential, because there was one part in there and I didn't think they would do it, but they did it. And where they were bring up letters and newspaper commentaries from prominent Jews in Germany who were saying that Chancellor Hitler isn't trying to kill us all. I've talked to him. He's a very reasonable person. We're going to do very well under him. All these people saying that he hates Jews, they're just out of touch. These were the Jewish coons. Right there in Nazi Germany, these were the Jewish coons. So we have a situation here, brother, where it took 6 million of them getting killed before they all said, man, the threat is this damn real. And in black society, unfortunately, it's going to take a cattle cars moment, because most black people have it in their heads that integration means more than death. They are willing to risk death in order to sexually liberate some white person from their genitalia. You and I have nothing in common with that plantation mind. I have nothing in common with it. I can't talk to it. I can't reason with it. I can't debate with it. I can't argue with it. I can't negotiate with it. All I can do is decimate it and overcome it. But he and I cannot coexist. Not now, not ever.
Right.
Now, what you would do is, if you're the nigga running around with your pants sagging, here's the empowerment program, my friend. What you do is, like I told you, I was sitting there at the place, and I saw this one fella walk in with this female, and he's walking in all slow and shuffled, bumble-lipped, and looking down his damn feet, and she's sitting there looking like a hot weave-wearing mess. What he needed to do is, after they finish eating, they go out there to the parking lot. He needs to pull up his pants. He needs to straighten. Imagine if he did this. As he's walking out the door, he doesn't say anything to her. He pulls up his pants all the way. He straightens his shirt down. And before she gets in the car, he walks in front of the driver's door and says, "I'll drive." And she's like, "What's gotten into you?" "I'm driving." Okay. Got the attitude. "I'm driving." They go back to her place because it's going to be hers, not his. And when they get there, he turns the car off. But before they get out, he says, "Wait." And she's like, "Okay, look here. Do you want a better life? That's all I want to know. Do you want to have more than we got right now?" And wait for her response. If her response is, "I'm alright," he needs to get the hell out that damn car and walk home or whatever. But if she says, "Yes, I want a better life," then he needs to say to her, "Well, damn it, here's the plan. You got a job, I got a job. If I ain't got one, I need to get one. And you and me and us and you and me are going to work for the next 12 months, and we're going to do like these damn Latinos and Asians. We're going to get our damn money saved up. We're going to save us up $10,000, $20,000, and we're going to get something popping. I don't know if it's a hamburger stand. I don't know if it's a rental house or whatever out in the valley. I don't give a damn what it is. We are going to get a better life than we've got right now. All I want to know, baby, is, are you with me? Do you know how many black women in California would straighten their damn backs up if they had a man say what I just said? Did you notice it wasn't no argument? Did you notice it wasn't no name calling? It's just, baby, do you want a better life? Because all I'm, not no drawing out conversation, just that one question. Just shut your mouth and wait for her to answer. And if she says, yes, I do, then you tell her, well, this is what we gonna do to make it happen. Can't get no more weaves. I'm not getting no more Nikes. Damn the Xbox. If it don't make $1, it don't move. And we are going to be about this 24/7. You and me, because we're all we got. Black women in California would respond to a man who does that. You know why? Because I've done it. I know it works because I've done it. These women are wayward and whatnot because they're trying to emulate a masculine energy that they don't actually have. And if too many of them would stop being bastard baby makers, you'd have more men who could actually lead you. So you're actually creating your own deficit. Congratulations. But for the fellas out there, brother, that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to go on. If you would just say that one thing, that would snap so much into place. It really would. Because when the women see that you're serious, they're going to get in line. Now, yeah, you're going to have some hard heads who won't. Of course you will. And those are the ones, like I said before, you leave them behind. You don't argue and play with them. She's you're trying to go left and she's trying to pull you back right. No, let my hand go. You go right or left or north or south, wherever the hell you want to go. I'm going this way. And I'm going to get me a nothing like that Udden to replace this last one. And we're going to get something cracking. But, brother, it starts right there. It starts with two people, a man and a woman, or if you're a guy, you got business partners. It starts with two people agreeing they're on the same page together. That's where it starts. Doesn't matter if it's California or otherwise. The Latinos got it going on because before they come across that damn border from Mexico, that man and that woman in Mexico are like, baby, we gonna die down here. We are broke as hell. We're impoverished. We ain't never gonna have nothing sitting down here in Juarez. We gotta get across that border. And if the both of us make it out of this damn thing alive, I'm gonna be with you. You gonna be with me, and we gonna make something of our damn selves because we done struggled our whole lives eating dirt, and I'm ready to do something better. Senorita, are you with me? And she's like, this is a dude, when he sits here and says, I'm trying to get rich or die trying. She can't do nothing but respond to that. When she sees you are serious and you got the shovel in your hand and you about getting it, she can't do nothing but respond. Dude, that's why them fellas, the Mexicans, they work on the construction sites and whatnot, and the women respect them. He's out there 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day. He is proving that the life he left in Juarez, he wants to leave that life there. And he wants something better if it costs him his life. She can't do nothing but respond to it because you just showed her, I'm going to the promised land with or without you. What's it gonna be? And if we have more men and more people who responded that way, by the way, ladies, that might work for you too. I'm just saying, ladies, y'all need to do that. Don't do it in bed because a nigga ain't thinking about progress in bed. He'll say whatever you want to hear. Next time you go to the store and he comes out with his head all down, you need to give him the talk and say, baby, I can't do the head down thing. I'm not telling y'all to re-raise no man. You need to go find you a fellow who walks with his head up. If you got a fellow who's working, you need to let him know, hey, I'm doing this with or without you. But that's what we all need to be on, brother. We all need to be on some with or without you. But I'm going. Nobody, there shouldn't be a black person in America who should be able to smoke a joint and get 3 other people to stand in the corner with him. He should be there by himself. He shouldn't be able to get 3 other losers to stand around with him. They just built a $2 billion hotel office building, the tallest building in the western United States, which really is not true because when you look at the LA skyline, you can see that the U.S. Bank building is clearly taller than the Intercontinental building, but the spire on the Intercontinental technically qualifies as taller. Okay, it's chicanery, but it goes. But they just built a $2 billion piece of property right there, and the best you can do is stand around smoking weed in front of it. You're no longer fit to survive in the face of that. And you shouldn't be able to get 3 other losers to stand around and smoke with you so you all can try to live in ignorance. Forget that, man. You're supposed to be like, hey, how can we get our equity out the game? And everybody who does not see what you see, brother, leave them where they are. Now, as far as starting a business, you should not focus on starting a business with black people. You should focus on starting a business with whosoever will. I borrow money from white people. I use lines of credit from white people. I ain't sit up here and say the only lines of credit I'm going to use are going to be from black folk, and if I can't get the black line of credit, I won't do it because I probably would never get anything started. Brother, I do business with everybody. I do business with everyone. I give black people priority, but if you don't fill the priority quickly enough, the business will get done. And that's what we all need to be on. My business takes the priority. If I need a carpenter, if I need an electrician, I'll look for a black person first. If I can't, it's Tuesday. And nothing's going to beat Tuesday. Tuesday is get it done day. So no, we're not going to argue. We're not going to pull teeth. We're not going to coerce. We're not going to cajole. We're not going to badger. We're not going to do any of that, man. It's too late in the damn game for this. We're not going to do any of that. If these folks have chosen to commit suicide, let them go, man. This is like somebody trying to jump off Niagara Falls and you're trying to hold their arm. All they're going to do is pull you off with them. Let that nigga go. You can send flowers to his kinfolk if they're not as bad as he is. But the solution to helping somebody else isn't to say, I'm willing to risk my life and limb to do it. The solution to helping them is you get strong enough so that you create an environment that if they choose to join you, they've got a kindred soul who's got resources to spend. The solution is not, well, if he tries to commit suicide, I will risk getting myself killed to prevent him from knocking himself off. That's not the answer. I'll let you have the last word.
All right. Well, I was going to ask a second question, but I'll skip that for now to make time for other callers. But I'll leave this comment. There's an article called "It Takes 20 Years to Escape Out of Poverty" that was written in the Atlantic news site, and so it just talks about people who work in what they call the FTE sector, which is finance, technology, and electronics. And so that's what a lot of whites and Asians work in, and that's where the majority of wealth is concentrated right now, and where it'll be concentrated in the future.
Brother,
so that would be my advice to your listeners.
Understand something. It doesn't even take that. It doesn't even take that, believe it or not. In California here, man, do you know how much money you can make with a car wash here? If you take a look at the freeways, the 10, the 110, the 105, the 101, the 60, the 215, I can go down the damn list. Brother, this is a city with so many cars that if you stack them end to end, you'd probably end up on the moon. It is a city overflowing with cars. Do you know how much money you can make? And by the way, because there's so much dust blowing around in New Mexico and Arizona and California, they've got signs all up and down the freeway warning you about dust storms. Do you know how many times I've had to wash this car since I've been here? So, brother, and not enough car washes, which is just really, really weird, to be totally honest. You think Los Angeles would be overflowing with car washes, and they really ain't like that, to be totally honest. So, brother, there's opportunity. Forget IT and stuff. I'm not against it. You know, I've always advocated for it. But I'm just talking about at a basic level, man, to be able to buy vacuum pumps. Hell, if you really want to go all out and go buy one of those, automatic car washers like they have at the gas stations or jet car washers or whatever, man, there's opportunities for that. There's opportunities for those things. Hell, they still got hand car washing places. This is a matter of people not applying themselves at a basic level. Everything from barbershops or whatever, you got enough people here that there's a market for anything you want to do. There's a market for just about anything you want to do. I wish I could sit here and tell you that it wasn't like that, but man, it is. It is. I can't tell you how long I drove around trying to find a car wash. It is. It's there. It's been there. For everybody who's serious about it, it's still there right now. It's still there right now. And not every place I went to eat at was great. Most of them weren't. I mean, Tamburger was alright. It wasn't nothing to write a song about. I'm sorry, game. It wasn't nothing to write a song about. It was okay. I don't see why my people couldn't put them out of business in a weekend. And the lot to its own, by the way, is like Boot Hill. One way in, one way out, and you can't turn left or right. That's a perfect spot to ambush somebody. But man, if folk wanted to get their game together, it would not be hard, man. It would not be hard. This is a matter of, I got a choice between getting free and getting some weave. I got a choice between getting free and getting some shoes. I wish I could say that it was as hard as getting an IT certification. Brother, it's not even that hard. It's not. I'm telling you what I'm looking at. It's not that hard. It isn't. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. And I see some folks here that they're going to react to that. No, this is the kind of conversation we need to be having. We need to have a conversation where we sit down and say, hey, as black men and black women, have you ever had a black man who walked up to you and said to you, baby, do you want a better life? Because I want to give that to you. And if you work with me and I work with you, let's go ahead and build that. Because right now, do you know the dumbest thing in the world to see is a black man and a black woman fighting over anything. Over anything. Because we don't have anything to fight over. At least among white folk, you can say that they've got something to fight over. They got assets to fight over. This is why the men kill the women or the women kill the men. Man, we got a $10 million house. I'm killing your ass. We got a $10 million house. I'm going to see if I can get away with poisoning you. I'm going to at least give it a shot. I'm at least going to give it a shot. Got $10 million here. It's worth me giving it a try to kill you. I'm trying to get this $10 million. And you are in the way. I can understand that. I don't respect it. I don't like it, but I understand it. It makes sense. You got a damn iPhone and y'all are risking going to jail over an iPhone? You're risking that? You're risking going to prison over an apartment that neither of you owns? Why don't we at least get enough together that is worth fighting over it? How about that one? Caller from 209, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello?
Yes, you're on live.
Hello, Jason. My name is Rachel.
Hello, Rachel. Where are you calling from?
I've been listening to you for quite some time.
Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Where are you calling from, Rachel?
I'm calling from Modesto, California.
Hello, Rachel from Modesto. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I've been staying here. I've been living here for 8 years, and I can tell you it's quite dead out here. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and I know exactly what you're saying when you're talking about how, the black people are being gentrified right out of Los Angeles, because I noticed that, like in the early 2000s, a whole bunch of white people started flocking back to the inner city of Los Angeles. Whereas, many years before, they were all moving to the suburbs. And I used to own a condominium in Gardena, California, and I sold that about 17 years ago, which was one of the biggest financial mistakes I ever could have made. I really regretted that, Jason. It kicked my butt right away, okay? And it grieves me to even think about it. So I really know what you're talking about when you're saying that, black people ought to, let's say, get their stuff together, get their finances together, and become owners. Because when I sold my condo that I had owned for 5 years, I didn't know what I was doing. I called myself getting out of debt so I could move to San Diego. It didn't happen. Before I could get to San Diego, I was in a bus accident, okay? And so that derailed the whole plan. But anyway, things have not been the same with me since. And to anybody out there that has any kind of property at all, I just like to say, please don't be quick, willing, and ready to get rid of it. Think about it very closely before you do. Okay?
Now,
Because right now,
hold
I'm
on a
looking
second,
for work
Rachel.
right now, and I'm having a hard time doing that. I earned an MBA a year and a half ago, but I'm here in this dead town, and I've been having a really, really hard time.
Now, let me ask you a couple of things here, Rachel. Now, you live up there in Modesto, so you're near Sacramento and San Francisco and all that? I say near.
Yes.
Near is a relative term. I understand. But as far as that part of the state, you don't live in, Southern California around Los Angeles and San Diego and all that. So you live up there near Sacramento, San Francisco and all that, in that region. You say you've been there for 8 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now let me find out a couple of things here first. You've been there for 8 years. How old are you?
Okay. Oh, I'm 53.
Okay, you're 53 years old, so that means you moved there when you were 44, 45?
Yeah, well, yes, I moved here when I was 45, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm 53 now.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked that is because now you say that you had a condo, but you sold it.
Yes, I made a mistake in doing that. I didn't realize at the time that was the biggest mistake I would make.
Okay.
You know, the voice inside me warned me not to do it through 3 different people.
Okay,
but
slow down.
I did.
Slow down for a moment.
Okay.
Who did you consult before you sold it?
Nobody. However, I had 3 people to try to talk me out of it. 3 different people to try to talk me out of it.
Who were the 3
different people? And I did not listen.
Who were the 3 different people?
Okay. All right. One of them was a coworker of mine because I used to work for L.A. County. Okay. One of them was a coworker, and the other woman was an old family friend of my mom's. And then the other person, a man, was someone that I knew. Okay.
One of the most dangerous things that I've noticed, and I'm just going to be blunt here, I've noticed a large proportion of black women who don't care if they go broke. They want the power to make a decision, even if that decision is the wrong one. They just want the power to make it. And like, one of the most dangerous things I want people to listen, stay away from anybody that you tell them that they're doing a bad thing or that they're making a mistake. And if they make a statement like so or I don't care, if you tell people that something's going wrong, they're supposed to stop in their tracks, find out the information, and then make a decision. Because if you tell them and they just keep going, this isn't a person who's trying to get to a good place. They just want the power to make the decision, even if the decisions are wrong. And we're not supposed to go through life wanting power to make decisions. We're supposed to go through life wanting the power to be free and wanting the power to have a better life. Not to say that freedom is the ability to blow my head off. Well, yeah, you could do that, but if freedom means blowing your head off, it's like, okay, do I want to hitch my wagon to this? I bring that up because I noticed that a lot. Your story is very common of individuals who bought property and then just for inexplicable reasons. This wasn't 2000 you did this. You know, this is just 2011. Yep. So you were pretty aware of this even at the time. So you were like, well, I just wanted to get out of debt. Okay, I understand that part. The plan after, quote, getting out of debt, after you have sold off the only asset you have, what was the plan after that? Because the asset is gone. Now you're just to whatever you have left. So what did you have left after the asset's gone?
Well, because I had the condominium for only 5 years, the only money that I got out of it was $7,700. However, the gentleman told me that rather than to sell it, I should just lease it out. So that way, you know, if I decide that I want the place back, I will still have it. But I didn't even heed that advice, okay? I just went right ahead and sold it because my idea at the time was to move to San Diego. It was to not only get out of debt from under the mortgage debt, but to move to San Diego, where I thought it was very beautiful. I've been there before, and that's what I wanted to do. But that didn't turn out.
Now, that's emotional. That was not logical.
Okay.
Well, I like San Diego, and it looks cute. So I'll just sell everything I got, and I'll figure out how I'm going to live in San Diego later.
Yes,
and I want everybody to pay attention to this. And I'm not beating up on you, Rachel. I want them to pay attention because your story is all too common. This is exactly what happened to black folk in San Francisco. This is exactly what happened to black folk in Oakland. It's happening to them now. You're seeing it happen in Harlem. People are sitting up here making knee-jerk emotional decisions with no real plan. You didn't have the ability to go to San Diego. You did not have the ability to go. If you had gotten, you say you got $7,700. If you had gotten 4 times that amount, you still wouldn't have been able to go. You still would not have been able to go and stay. You wouldn't. This isn't 50 years ago. This is just 8 years ago. You still would not have been able to do it. Even if you sold the condo a few years ago,
Yeah.
you still, in 2013, you would not have been able to make it. You were not gonna make it. You don't have enough resources. You don't have family there, so you don't have a social network. You don't have the ability to go there for 6 months and just wait to find a job. You didn't have any of that in place. And there wasn't no bus accident that did it. It's because you didn't have the resources afterward. Whatever the debt was you were concerned about, I guess it was a student loan or credit card or whatever. Yeah, you got rid of that. Now you just have to figure out a way to live. Here's the problem that we have as black people. Black people have a bunch of unreliable sources of information that they get things from. That's the problem that we have. So you end up listening to people like Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is one of the most dangerous people I can consider for a black person to listen to, because Dave Ramsey is a radio host who speaks as if he has so much conviction, and everything he says is absolutely illogical. He's talking from a biblical perspective. He needs to sit up here and just say he's a preacher. And religions are a fine thing, but what you need to understand is that a religion is a belief system. It is not a fact system. So one person can believe whatever they want to believe, but your belief is not a fact. Dave Ramsey's belief is that debt of any kind is a bad thing, which is really ironic because he's one of the first people to sit up here and tell you about how he's gone into debt to get where he is. So apparently debt's okay for him, just not for the rest of you. As black people, we need to be taught that there is a difference between good debt and bad debt. First of all, we need to be taught that there exists good debt and bad debt. Now, let me give you the definition of good debt. The definition of good debt is debt that you acquired purchasing assets and revenue generating resources. That is good debt. So taking out a loan to buy rental property, to get a business, a vehicle that you use in the course of your business, if you're a stylist, your salon equipment and whatever, that is good debt. It is debt that that pays for itself and generates revenue. In other words, it is debt that uses your ingenuity to remove itself. What is bad debt? Bad debt is debt that you acquired by purchasing consumer goods. You know, like I want to move.
I know.
Like I want to move to San Diego. That's pursuing consumer goods. I want a city that's a good look for me. You might as well have said I want a nice dress. That's how we end up getting screwed up, because debt is supposed to be a long-term arrangement. You're supposed to have debts that, as the years go on, the debt improves your life. And we don't get taught that that condominium was good debt, because that is an appreciating asset. It is an asset that makes, not only does the asset naturally increase in value, but it can actually give you a cash flow income stream every month. So that was good debt. It was debt that actually... I
didn't realize that at the time.
It was debt that actually resolved. I'm not sure how much you didn't realize it. I think that you wanted to be in San Diego more than you wanted to be financially stable. I think you were making emotional decisions, and we see a lot of people make emotional decisions that destroy their lives, because it's very emotional decisions can be made very, very quickly. The consequences will last forever. So we should be very slow to make emotional decisions. We need to make decisions that we can sit down on a piece of paper and look at numbers. If you can't see the numbers, you probably don't need to be making the decision. If you're making a decision based upon, this is the most dangerous type of decision to make. This will make me feel better. You're supposed to be feeling okay wherever you are. You're supposed to feel okay in Modesto. You're supposed to feel okay in Torino. You're supposed to feel okay wherever you are. Feelings come and feelings go. That is what feelings do. But this idea that if I just do this financial thing over here or that financial thing over there, then I'm going to improve the way I feel about myself. Now that's where we get into dangerous things. And don't get me wrong, if you're financially struggling, you don't feel very good. You don't. But the idea that you're going to make a financial expenditure, if I go buy this certain thing, if I go spend money on this certain thing, then that will take away my negative feelings. This is where we get into trouble, because even if you had made it to San Diego, you would just be one woman dealing with a whole new round of debts and problems, and you'd be right where you are in Modesto. Not physically. You'd be in San Diego struggling there too. That's the problem that we run into. Now, let me ask you a couple of things here. Are you working now?
No, I'm looking for work.
Okay.
I'm looking for work.
Well, you're good enough that you're able to look for work. Do you have a man?
No, I don't.
You need to get one. and you know I'm right.
Yeah, you are.
Understand something. This is just the cold ass truth, because these white folk will lie to you. They'll tell you part of it and then they'll lie to you for the rest of it. The number one reason that women go into poverty, and you know this, the number one cause of poverty for women is divorce. Why is that?
Okay.
It is because men are able to do all of the jobs that women can do and a bunch of other jobs that women cannot do. There's no job that you have as a woman that a man cannot do. I can name a bunch of jobs that a man can do that you simply cannot. If I put you on a construction site and tell you to pick up a 150-pound concrete mixer, you're going to look at me and say, nigga, is you crazy? That's 150 pounds. But the men will be walking around with them all day. So we have more options to income. We have more avenues to it in ways that you all won't, so we'll get higher pay for it. As a woman, if you want to turn your finances around, you need to have a financial partner, especially if you're in your 50s, because what it sounds like, Rachel, if you and I can just be frank with each other and just level, it sounds like you're starting over.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay. Rachel, if you are going to start, you are in the second half of your life. If you are starting over at the point in your life when people are supposed to be finishing, and you're starting over, you need as much help as you can get, and you need somebody who is emotionally and personally invested in your success as a person.
Okay.
I say a man, but then again, you're in California, you might want a woman. I don't know. Whichever way it goes, however.
No. I don't go that way.
Well,
I don't go that way. Okay?
Everybody else is. Everybody else is. I've been down there to Sunset Strip. Everybody else is. But my point is, you try to do this by yourself, and this is going to be a hell of a heavy lift at 53. This is going to be hella heavy.
It is.
You need allies. You need allies. And I'm just going to tell you that, just straight out. If nobody else is going to say it to you straight, I will. There's a reason why all those white women and all those Asian women are at the gym and at the hair salon at your age, because they know that their financial future rests on whether or not they can get chose. They need a man who is willing to sacrifice his disposable income and invest it in you, because they're too late in the game to be trying to start from zero. They're too late in the game for that. So I'm just giving you a little bit of friendly advice. If I woke up tomorrow morning and I was a 53-year-old black female in Modesto, East Bumfunkle, California, if I woke up tomorrow and that was me, that would be my first order of business. If it was me. And I don't know, you didn't say that you were calling looking for advice, but now you got some. Just hearing what I'm hearing, because I don't know what the plan is, and the fact that you got in this situation at such a late age in life when it was very pig stupid simple not to sell the condo and you did it anyway, you need a man to help make those financial decisions for you so that you don't replicate this in some other way. Because the last time it was a condo, next time it could be a car, a degree, something. You need a partner that the both of you can work together to see to your financial future. That's what you need.
Right, and you know, Jason, as I mentioned earlier, I obtained an MBA about a year and a half ago, okay? And I obtained that through a federal student loan.
How's that worked out?
I got myself in.
How's that worked out for you?
And may I ask you something, Jason? Is a federal student loan considered a good debt or a bad debt? Because I thought that by getting in that type of debt to obtain an MBA was a good thing to do. Was that not a good thing to do?
No, it was not a good thing to do. And the reason that it was not a good thing to do is because your type of degree is essentially worthless. And the reason why it's essentially worthless is because they need to call MBAs what they are: friendship degrees. It only is a benefit.
Friendship degrees.
It's only a benefit if you have a friend at a corporation who will allow you to use it. Otherwise, it is worthless. Nobody is going to let you come in and run their business. That's nepotism. You don't need an MBA to go into a company and run somebody's business or be in upper management. What you do need are friends at that company who will already are agreeable to you and will allow you to do it. To which common sense would tell you, well, hell, if they're my friends, I don't need an MBA for it. Yeah, that's the point. Rick Wagner was the CEO of General Motors. He had an MBA, but then again, he was a white male, and those were his white friends, and so it was given to him. An MBA will only work if you've got friends who will give you the position. But if you don't have that, all you got is a piece of paper that you can't wipe your windshield with. That's the problem. Now, with an IT certification, with engineering, with accounting, the companies, the entry level for those is so high, and the entry level pay is so high, and there's so much in demand that you don't need friends to let you in. But an MBA, you're asking to be the business administrator. That means you're asking to leapfrog the entry level positions. And just like any other job, you can't leapfrog the entry level positions unless there's somebody at the upper level who will give you a slot. Do you have somebody in the upper levels of a corporation who will give you a slot based on that MBA?
No, not that I know of.
Now, I could be full of crap. I could be full of garbage. There may be a bunch of corporations in California that cannot wait to make you their head of human resources sight unseen because you got an MBA. I could be wrong, and if I am, Rachel, I want you to call me back and say, Jason Black, you were dead ass wrong. Why, I've got a great job at Apple, working in upper management with just my MBA. You may be right about other things, but you were totally wrong about this. Go ahead and, I'm telling you right now, call me out on it. I want you to. Because I know a dozen people with MBAs in business administrations and business finance, and they're working at everything except that.
Wow.
Now that I finished laying those negative vibes on you, there are other things you could potentially do. I'm going to make a suggestion to you. Just a suggestion. If among your other things, if you have not looked at doing an IT course, you might want to do that. Take you about 6 months to get your certification, but while you're working that MBA angle, I would recommend that because that is something that is current and is up to date and is portable. You can take it with you, and the results you thought you'd see from your MBA, you'll probably actually see with something like that. And it won't take you 4 years. And you're in California.
Great.
You're in California. You're in California, where every tech company in the world is trying to get a foothold into. It is not so much that California is bad for black folks, that we're not doing what's necessary to make it good for us. So if you have what those people are looking for, which is some type of information technology or computer skills, that's what they need. That's what they will give you. And then they'll start helping you up because they can't afford to tell you no. They need as much help as they can get. They need as many people as they can get. They can't afford to tell you no.
Okay.
So that would be my suggestion to you. Before you finish out your schooling, you might want to see about that one, and you wouldn't even have to take out a loan for that. You wouldn't even have to.
Wow. And the thing is, Jason, I don't desire to take out another loan because, this federal student loan that I took out, now I owe them about $63,000.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
I went into the program for about 2.5 years. I did get my diploma, last year and everything.
Wait,
so, in other words, Jason, it cost me about $20,000 per year. Okay,
Wait.
Between $62,000, $63,000.
Slow down.
Slow
down, Rachel. Slow down.
Okay.
Do you mean to tell me that after you sold your condo, after you did that you now owe $60,000 and you don't even have the condo anymore? So you sold the condo to pay off a debt and then immediately sank $60,000+ into debt right after that.
No, not right after that, Jason. Remember, I sold the condo 17 years ago. Okay. I entered into the MBA program back in 2013, August 2013, okay? So that was long after I sold the condo. That was not something I just rushed right into and did after I sold my condo.
You say long after.
I got into the MBA program just a few years ago.
Say long after. You say that. Maybe that's the way you think about it. Maybe that's what influenced you to go ahead and do that. Think about this differently. How much would that condo be worth today if you'd held on to it?
Probably would have been worth maybe 3 or 4 times as much. I don't know.
Okay. That's the part I'm talking about. We sold the condo to pay off a debt. And then we wake up and we owe many times that amount. That's the part I'm looking at. Yes. And you got to understand, for those of you who don't know, student loans are, thank you to George W. Bush after 9/11, student loans are no longer dischargeable. Student loans are permanent. There is no 7-year limit on your credit report. Student loans are permanent. Cannot be discharged, cannot be alleviated. They can only be paid. So that means if you don't pay that loan, it just sits there.
Jason, this afternoon I spoke with my nephew, okay? And right now he is, he's incarcerated. He's been incarcerated for several years now. And he's talking about getting a degree. And I'm trying to discourage him from taking out any loans. And he told me that if he could get a grant that's designed for someone like him, then I said, okay. I said, but I would not like you to find yourself in the position that I'm in, because if you get out, when you get out and you have this debt and you don't get a job, and especially given the situation that you're in, I said, you're gonna really feel the sting of that, and I would not like that for you. Okay, so I really like you to think long and hard before, taking out any student loans, especially private loans. Now, like I said, I didn't go to private loans because I know they are brutal, okay? And I told him that.
That's not what he needs to do.
So I pretty much know what to tell him. However, I can't make his decisions for him, okay? But again, I was talking to him about that kind of thing today, which is what I would really like to discourage him from doing.
That's not really what he needs to do, though. That's not really what he needs to do. He doesn't need to do that.
What was that?
That's not what he needs to do. Your nephew does not need to go to college to try to replicate your route. That's not what he needs to do. If I were him, because the IT route probably isn't going to work for him, because you say he's incarcerated. Is he incarcerated for a felony?
Yes, he is.
Then the IT route probably isn't going to work for him that well, because they need people, but they can afford to tell felons no. An area that might be easier for him instead is if he would take up one of the trades instead. California's building stuff all over the place. Exactly. Electrician, plumber, he'll be making money hand over fist if he's serious. Anything else is a pipe dream and unrealistic, and if he just wants to get knocked in his ass for the next 20 years, I guess he can make that choice too, but don't give him a bunch of other stuff. You just need to tell him, hey, he's already in prison. They probably got classes already for carpentry and everything else now where he is. He doesn't have to even take out a loan. He's probably got access to that training now.
You know, I suggested vocational training for him, such as electrician, HVAC, plumbing, and welding. And I noticed one thing: a lot of those places are eliminating the vocational training simply because they know that once those guys get out, they'll be able to do well. And so, so they eliminate it and cut back those particular training courses. There are only few prisons that train people in vocational. Where he is, no, not so much, but I'm going to talk to him again about that so he could seek elsewhere, because I would not like him to get in the position that I'm in. I really would not, especially given that he has a felony, okay? And I helped raise him from the time he was 6 months until he was several years of age. I helped raise him and everything, but he went the wrong way, okay? But he's like a son to me whom I've never had, okay? So I try to help him, whichever way that I can.
Well, his parents weren't worth a whole lot.
Working on right now, trying to steer him in the right direction.
Yeah, his parents weren't worth a whole lot. However, like I say, in his case, he would be better off one of the trades. That felony is going to be a real problem. He's going to have to. And how old is he?
He's 26.
Okay, he's only 26 years old with a felony. He's doing great at 26 years old. What he needs to do is focus on one of the trades instead, so that not only does it give him the ability to avoid a lot of debt, it also will give him something that he can't be frozen out with. Because everybody in your neighborhood needs a plumber, an electrician, or a carpenter. Everybody. And there's no way that he'll be frozen out. Once they hear he can do that kind of work, they're going to come looking for him. Apartment complexes are going to come looking for him. They need maintenance men to take care of that kind of stuff, especially if he can do electrical and plumbing. The apartment complexes and the condos there, they'll be throwing money at him. But it's going to take it to him. He's going to have to get serious about his situation and what his options really are. If he's holding out hope that he can still get that record deal and still be a rapper, that's going to be a problem. But if he's serious about getting his act together, then that would be, if that was my son, if that was my nephew, that is what I'd be telling him. Because anything else is not going to work. Yeah. That felony is going to hold him back in pretty much everything else now. And that's just the reality of it. It's going to hold him back unless he gets lucky. And I don't believe in relying on luck. I'll let you have the last word.
Okay. Yes, I'm with Jason. I really appreciate the advice that you've given me. And I can clearly see how gentrification, and plus how the fact that we black people have not gotten our act together economically has severely hindered us, okay? And it's widespread. And I'll tell you the truth. If I could turn back those 17 years, 18 years, 17 years and everything, I would have kept my gun down. I really would have. Right. So the only thing I can tell people is stay out of bad debt and think more wisely, before they make decisions. And like you said, don't make emotional decisions based on appearances or fantasies or some preconceived idea of what you think some place will be like for you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from 323. You're on live at the Black Channel.
Hey, Jason, this is Danae.
Hello, Danae. What's on your mind?
I'm calling from, Hawthorne. I just called to come to confirm what you've been seeing out here in Los Angeles. You were actually in my neighborhood because I actually live off of Rosecrans between Hawthorne and Prairie. And so I didn't know if you noticed as you were going up Rosecrans towards Compton, if you look to the left off of Rosecrans and Crenshaw, there's a whole bunch of luxury apartments that just been built there for like last 2 years. And around the corner off of Crenshaw and 120th is SpaceX. So I'm noticing a lot of white people, especially in my neighborhood, with their dogs and running and jogging in this area.
And that's the way it always starts.
I live off of...
That's the way it always begins. They come with their little toy poodle dogs. When you see a white woman jogging up your neighborhood, gentrification is here. She is the first settler.
Yeah, I know. I live on the west side of Hawthorne, but where those luxury apartments were built, that's on the east side of Hawthorne. And if you go in between like Yukon or Dottie, it's high. There's a lot of black people that live in these apartments over there, and I'm sure eventually within the next, I don't know how many years, they're all going to be moved out.
Yeah, there's a bunch of jogging white women who can pay twice the rent. If you're if you were a landlord, why wouldn't you?
Right. And I also was going to say, those people that you were talking about, standing outside smoking weed, those three, the male and female, I guarantee you they're homeless. I worked I did my internship around this time last year at a needle exchange in Skid Row. And I can't tell you how many young black people I'm seeing down there. So when you said that, I was like, oh, they're homeless. I already know.
I don't think so. And everybody I saw was not homeless. I saw some people in some other areas. They were actually inside some of the buildings, but like the folk at the malls and whatnot. They're just hanging out. Everybody, some of them may be homeless, but not all of them. I saw a bunch of people just hanging out because that's all they can do. They can't afford anything. They don't want to look at the same four walls at their house anymore or at their apartment, so they just go downtown. They take a look around. I saw the same thing in Detroit. Okay, they weren't homeless on the riverfront, but they couldn't afford to go to anything in Greektown. So all they could do is just walk around behind the General Motors building on the Riverwalk. That's all they could do. Saw the same thing in Brooklyn. The white folks are having weddings and they got wedding photographers out there. The black folk are just walking around and stumbling around in the water. The white folk were taking pictures and doing business. The photographers were out there making money. I was filming. The rest of the black folk, they were down there playing in the water. They're just hanging out. I can keep going down the list. I mean, I can keep going down this list. I'm not just coming out for nothing. Now, the places where they actually can't go unless they could pay, down there in Manhattan Beach and whatnot, they weren't there at all. They weren't there. You're just so far out. There's just nothing you can do when you get to El Segundo. You are either there and can afford it or you can't go.
It's true. I mean, I go to Manhattan Beach all the time just if I want to go on the beach or take a walk, and you don't really see too many black people down there.
Yeah, because all you can do is drive all the way out there. Because if you're coming from Compton, that's a ways. All you can do is just go all the way out there, stand around on the beach, and then go home. And that's okay if you went with somebody else or if it's the summertime, but it's November, okay? And it gets cool out there, by the way. It's November. You're not going out there unless you're gonna make a day of it. You're not going out there because ain't nothing happening in Compton. You're going out there because you got something to spend on it. Now, with the folk going downtown and whatnot, they might be able to take the train or the bus or something. You don't have that option for the beach. You don't have that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you went to Leimert Park area too. You'll see a lot of, white people walking their dogs, jogging, and Leimert area is supposed to be the Black Beverly Hills.
No, I was talking to somebody about. I was talking to somebody about. We were talking. I was talking to someone today about Lamert and Tragnew, and I told him. I said, when you see the white folks jogging through Tragnew, it's over. Wrap this thing up. You're done.
Yep, and it's happening in Inglewood too.
Oh, Inglewood's been gone.
Right over there where the stadium.
Yeah, Inglewood's been gone. Inglewood is one of the biggest cases of denial that you're going to see in that area, but Inglewood has been gone. Hell, Inglewood's really been gone, to be totally honest with you, right after OJ, actually. Inglewood's been gone. Yes, I know OJ happened in Brentwood. That's not what I'm saying. Inglewood's, about that time is when you started seeing that thing start to change. That's really been gone, to be totally honest. At this point right now, once you start seeing the first colonizers show up, it's over, because they came for a reason. They had the ability to go anywhere, but they chose to come to your neighborhood. What that tells you is that it's socially acceptable among their group. It can only be socially acceptable among their group unless there's a wide number of people who already have come to the same conclusion. So that means they've been sitting in their homes in Hollywood Hills or on the North Side or whatever, discussing you. They've been sitting there in their homes discussing you moving into your neighborhood as an option. And then when the ones who showed up, those are just the ones who actually came. There are thousands, maybe tens of thousands of other white folk who have been sitting discussing you, or are currently sitting and discussing you with their real estate agents and their CPAs and their realtors and everything else. You and your neighborhood are the topic of discussion in white homes all over Southern California, because you're actually affordable. Yeah,
well, I was, if you go off of, let's say, like kind of where USC is, certain areas could be considered like the bad areas, but they're refurbishing those houses, and I'm seeing white people in those areas. Because a lot of white people are moving from the west, like Santa Monica, West Hollywood. They're moving over here because real estate is cheaper than it is over there on the west side.
Black folk need to understand something.
So that whole area...
White people are not afraid of poor people. Hell, they're not afraid of violent people either. Take a look at world history. But we got this idea that white folk are afraid of us because we're poor. White people are not afraid of poor people. They're not encouraged to be around you because you're poor, but they're not scared of you because you're poor. And then we see them start showing up like, hey, you ain't supposed to be here. We're poor black folks. Ain't y'all supposed to avoid us? And we don't get it. They're not, our poverty does not make them afraid. And then you just wake up one morning and they show you how unafraid of you they really are. Hell, because as far as they're concerned, they remember when white folk used to live there before you came in. Their memory goes back way further than you. Way further. So as far as they're concerned, they're not gentrifying you. They're just reclaiming what they already had. Far as they're concerned, it's not even gentrification. It's just reclamation.
Right.
I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah. All right, well, I just wanted to say good job, and I listening today, and I was like, oh, I had to call in because everything he's saying is the absolute truth.
Well, you need to get you a fella.
Work in Black First.
You need to get you a fella you can cooperate with too out there. I'm sure one of those wonderful Irish gentlemen that you were hugged up with will be happy to assist you further. Just saying.
Well, that's easier said than done, Jason.
Just saying. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying it's an option. We won't judge you much. It's an option.
Honestly, I'm seeing a lot of like black women with white dudes. I might consider. I'm just kidding. I'm not considering it. But
okay. We'll be watchful for Zach. We'll be watchful.
No, I'm good on that one, but thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from 256. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Oh, Did I press one? I still apologize for that.
Okay. I don't know what you just said. Caller from 859, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, Jason. It's Jerome from Kentucky.
Jerome from Kentucky, what's on your mind? Get some
things.
WD-40 for those hinges, but go ahead.
A couple things. One, the caller that called about the condominium, the IT degrees for his when you're talking about her nephew, him being a felon won't really affect much. I actually own a consulting company. I'm a senior software engineer myself, and one of my main engineers has a felony, and that has never stopped him from getting a senior position. And that's because the demand is so high.
I can't speak for other people. If I had to choose something I'd have, yeah, that would be great. Here's the thing I'm taking a look at. This kid is 26 years old. He's already got a felony at 26. I didn't want to get into why he has it. But at 26 years old, especially if his aunt is having to take care of him, we're dealing with some home issues. He didn't just fall into that felony. We're dealing with some environmental, cultural, and habit issues. So I'm more concerned about, has he ever really been in an environment where where he was culturated to be in that type of corporate environment? I'm not so certain about that. And being in California, because you're in Kentucky, he's in California where they're tripping over IT degrees all over the place. It's good to have that. They've got the option of telling him no. In her case,
my company's based out of California.
Okay, I don't know about your company. I'm not gonna get into that. In his case, I wish I could tell you that we're not, but based on where I've been, yeah, they can. Now, am I saying that they will? No. I didn't say that they will. Would I be willing to risk my future on it? I'm not so sure about that. Now, would I discourage him from doing it? No, I wouldn't. I think that because of his age, however, and because of what I suspect are some of the environmental issues, I think he'd be better off going for a trade instead, and his aunt said the same thing. I think he'd be better off going in that direction because he'd be able to hit the ground running a lot quicker, and the environment in that area that he's in, it would be easier for him to get something going like that. As far as something else, I would be kind of skeptical about that. But like I say, you have your opinion about it. That's perfectly fine. You're quite welcome to it. I've seen the opposite, and that would concern me.
Fair enough. The main thing I actually wanted to call about was when I was living out in the Bay before I moved back to Kentucky, I was looking into investing in real estate in Kentucky, specifically in inner Louisville, Kentucky. And the way that I was going to do it, which I'm still going to do it, is that the metro government actually owns a whole bunch of vacant property. So every month they just, they sell them off for pennies on the dollar. So I'm talking like $2,500, $1,500 for a house, and it only costs about $10,000 to $13,000 to renovate it. So my grandfather, he owns a construction company, and he can do all the renovations and stuff. So would you suggest that that'd be a good way to get in on real estate?
Yes. If what you're saying is accurate, yes. The only caveat I would give you is you probably want to talk to a realtor first, because there's no use in fixing up a property that is not going to be able to turn around fairly quickly to start generating income for you. And furthermore, you don't want to fix up one that is not in the pathway of ascending real estate values. So if it were me, yes, I would do it, but I would want to consult with a realtor first to make sure that those other things were also in the making. Is this a property that's either can be rented or sold fairly quickly? And if it's not going to be sold, is it in the path of ascending real estate values in the area. That would be my two primary concerns.
So the answer to that second question, in the areas in which they're selling primarily, no, it pretty much stays around the 20,000, 30,000 for a house. It's basically in the hood.
Like I say, that would be a deal breaker for me. I wouldn't want to buy a property today and 10 years from now hope something happens. There's some movement going on in Louisville. There's some movement, not nearly as much as what's happening up there in Tennessee. There's not nearly as much happening as what's happening in Nashville and Chattanooga and soon to be Memphis. So Louisville's got some movement, but if you're not in the pathway of that, there's a reason why those properties are for sale as cheap as they are. Some markets, they do that as a lure, hoping to bring in bigger investors. But if they fail to be able to do that, like we've seen happen in Chicago and Detroit, there's only so much of that you can do. And because the bottom line is, if you don't have a population base large enough that you've got disposable middle and upper middle class income earners who can choose to elevate property values, if you lack that in an area, all they can do is give it away, hope that somebody will buy it so that he gets into the property tax revenue stream. Because it's better to sell it to you and get $100 a year in property tax than for the city to just be sitting on it, paying to cut the grass and everything, and making nothing off of it. They would rather get $100 than get nothing. So as an investor, you have to think as an investor, which means you have to think logically. And everything that's for sale is not worth buying. Sometimes there's a reason why some stuff is on the cheap rack. It's on the cheap rack because it ain't really worth that much. So if I wouldn't jump to conclusions. I really think before you do anything, you want to talk to a realtor about it and see what they think. If it's really just in the hood and you're surrounded by a bunch of low property values, then that means that you would need something drastic to happen in the area to be able to kick off that redevelopment thing. And if that's not happening, might be best to just fall back. Now, the disadvantage of doing that is if something like kicks off in the next 5-7 years and the property values just skyrocket. But if you're surrounded by a bunch of houses that are actually owned by people, that can be enough to keep the values low and just stick them there. Unless a bunch of people just start leaving the area. Okay. Now, if that's not going to happen, if a bunch of people are not going to leave the area, and this is just going to be the property values going forward, I wouldn't be. That's not something I'd be interested in.
Okay. I have one more question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
So my main source of income is through my consulting company, as I was explaining earlier. But I've increasingly had more income streams come up through my apps that I've created. And right now, the residual income from my apps is enough to pay for my living. So my question is, should I scale back my consulting business and focus on my apps?
Because your apps are making more than your consulting.
No. My consulting definitely makes more, but at the cost of more time.
Okay. No, I would not do that. What I would do if it were me, I would not necessarily, I wouldn't eliminate the consulting. Maybe I would pull back on it some. For me, I wouldn't consider eliminating one revenue stream unless the other one just took off at this crazy rate. If that happened to the point that the other one can replace, if it's to a point where it's like, man, if I spent more time on apps, I could double my income right now that I make, which includes consulting. If it were that kind of situation where your consulting is preventing you be making more money if you're doing apps and the consulting is actually a hindrance, that's one thing. But if you're still speculating about it, and it sounds like you are, If you're not certain about it, I would pull back on the consulting maybe, but I would want the apps to prove themselves. They've proven they can pay your monthly rent. That's nice. That's wonderful. It definitely takes a burden off your shoulders. But if it were me, I would want to see double that at least. If the apps are able to make enough, are able to replace the income you get now, then I would be thinking about, this consulting thing is no longer really paying for itself. Then I might look in that direction.
Okay.
But then again, my next question would be, why is the consultancy not making, the same amount of money that the apps would? Which I know apps are passive income, and I get that. But I would be examining the consulting too. Am I getting everything out of my consulting I could be getting? If I am, I'll put a little bit more in these apps. Let's see where this horse takes us. And if it's just outrunning consulting, then I would start the conversation about maybe I need to ease back off of this, or with consulting, maybe just take on a couple of people who pay a lot of money, or a couple of people who pay well, so you're not just out of it altogether, and see how it goes then. But I wouldn't drop it unless the apps just take off and just replace everything. Because if they really do take off, they're naturally going to take up more of your time. That's the real thing. If the apps really do take off, it's just naturally going to take up one more of your time, because you're like, hey, this thing is burning 24/7. I need to put more time into this, and just naturally the consulting is going to wither on the vine. And that's just the way it works.
Okay. So comparing my rates of growth, I've kind of stagnated on my consulting business because I only have a few employees. And the cost to upgrade my scale of operations right now, I don't think would justify it for what I think I would be getting.
Yeah. I get asked to do consulting all the time. I never have.
My apps.
I get asked to do consulting all the time, and I never have,
Okay,
because it would take up so much time. And your time is your most important resource. How well you use it and how efficiently you use it, that's going to be the most important thing for you. So, I mean, you can go round and round about it, but at the end of the day, you're really going to need, it's like the McDonald brothers had, they cut back on doing hot dogs and things because 3 items were making up 87% of their revenue: hamburgers, french fries, and soft drinks. They've concentrated on those 3 things, and we see where McDonald's is today. You don't have to overcomplicate this. In your life, you're just scaling it differently.
Okay.
If your apps are making up the majority of your income, if they're just outstripping your consulting, then it might be time for the consulting to take a back seat. As right now, you got the apps taking the back seat to the consulting. If the apps outstrip your income from consulting, then it's time for the consulting to take a back seat. You don't have to kick it out of the car, but it needs to be where it needs to be. Hey, you're not pulling as much weight. The apps are driving. You just sit back there and stay in your lane.
Okay.
If it were me, that's what I would do.
Okay, that's what my conscience has been telling me. So I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I would just see where the apps take you and everything like that. I wouldn't cut out the consulting right now, but I would probably allocate 3 days to apps and 4 days to consulting and see what happens. You should have whole days where you're doing nothing but apps and whole days where you're doing nothing but consulting, and see which one of them justifies their existence.
Okay.
And let evolution take its course. I'll let you have the last word.
Thank you for everything that you do, B1.
Black First Brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here today. Let me get caller from Open Up 661. You're on live.
Hey, this is Brother Gerald again from Los Angeles, California.
Gerald, why are you calling back?
I was calling back so you could give the lady who has with the felony my phone number. And to also say it's not really polite for you to hang up on people.
She does not have a felony.
No, she has a nephew or a relative that's looking for work.
She has a
And
nephew
as
who
you
is
already know, I'm a
incarcerated.
licensed electrician,
She has a nephew who is
heating and
currently
air, and a plumber.
She has a nephew who is currently incarcerated.
Okay. Well, when he gets out, my number hasn't changed in the last 20 years, so
Okay.
you
Gerald,
can give it to her.
Gerald,
And I can give him a fast track to getting his license.
Gerald, I think that would be a horrendous idea. I think it would be horrendous.
And why would helping another black person be a bad idea?
Because your people skills are abysmal. And I'm afraid he will swing on you. That's
okay.
why.
And so, did you answer my question earlier that I posed to you?
Gerald, do yourself a favor.
Yes.
Do yourself a favor, Gerald. This is as polite as I'm going to be with you. Hang up the phone.
Well, I'm not going to hang up. I'd really like for you to answer the question.
Okay. If you're not going to hang up,
because I asked you a question.
If you lack the temperament to deal with people, and if your own kids don't want to work with you, I'm not going to send somebody else until you can demonstrate that you can work well with people. I am not going to send a felon to somebody that I know is a disciplinary problem. It is going to discourage him. It will only make trouble. It'll only make me look bad. No. Caller from 972, you're on Live with the Black Channel.
Good evening, Jason. This is calling from Dallas.
This is who calling from Dallas?
Winston.
Hello, Winston from Dallas. What's on your mind?
I wanted to kind of give credit because I'm going to backtrack on Gerald just for a minute. A new list for relatively for here. Wanted to acknowledge you on 7 a.m. and Race Wars. And I know that Gerald was asking the question about the radio and all that. One of the issues we have as a people is we talk, but we don't have action. I think your three endeavors is evidence of action. Tariq, 1804, hidden color theory is action. So I just want to let you know, as a relatively new, what you're doing, and I think more of us need to stop people like you and Tariq and Dr. Boyce to carry all the weight, and then we just sit back and spectate. So I think one of the things listeners should go away with is it ain't your responsibility. It's not Dr. Boyce's responsibility. It's not Tariq's responsibility. We all got to do our part. And I don't think you have to explain to Gerald. I know you don't, but I just want to let you know that I don't have expectations. You got to explain to us why you do.
Okay. Well,
the other thing I would say.
Let me respond to that really quickly here, brother. I don't worry about the thoughts of a person who calls me, because if you were so smart, I would be calling you. Or, at the very least, if you were so smart, you wouldn't be calling me. You see, I called Don Peebles. You know why? Because he's smarter than I am. I called Dr. Claude Anderson. You know why? Because he's smarter than I am. And the only people I don't call anymore are the ones who I feel like I'm smarter than they are. But it's not because I feel it, it's because I've done something that's validated it. But you don't see me making YouTube videos. You don't see me calling them out. You don't hear me say anything. I don't do public drama. I don't beef. I don't nothing. If you really believe that you're smarter than somebody else, then just get the hell up and go do it. I would never call you or argue with you over that. If you really believe it, go do it. Go take a look at Roland Martin's YouTube numbers and take a look at mine. The only time he can get past 2,000, 3,000 views is if he has a Richard Spencer or an Umar Johnson on. But just Roland Martin by himself, just him and the microphone, and he gets ordinarily 1,200 to 2,000 views. I get 1,200 to 2,000 views in an hour. He gets that in a couple of weeks. I don't think I do it better. I know I do. And I didn't need TV One or a cable TV network to do that for me. I didn't need it. He needs a cable TV network just to get a couple of thousand views, to be relevant enough to get a couple of thousand views. I don't need that. So it's not me telling you what I think of myself or what I hope of myself. I don't have to call Roland because I do it better. My numbers prove it. I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to ask you why you don't do this, why you don't do that. I just get out here and kick your ass every day. That's what I do. I get out here and make you run. That's what I do. I'm the guy that you're upset over, and Roland got upset because I was retweeting Jake Tapper, and I did tag Roland in one post about it, but I wasn't blowing Roland's spot up. Roland blew himself up. Don't get mad at me. I didn't do anything. Jamila Lemieux's upset with me this day. Why? Jamila, I didn't do anything except repost your tweets. You got mad at me because I reposted your tweets. You were the one who said that you were so happy you got your job at Ebony because they got your mama out of Section 8. I didn't say that. You did it. Don't get mad at me because you got on the Breakfast Club begging for a job. I didn't put words in your mouth. You sat there and told Charlemagne what you really need to do is have a day of the week like Thursday where you bring in somebody like me and give us 20, 30 minutes to talk to people. You were begging for a job, Jamila. Got upset because they gave it to Angela Rye. So yeah, they like the idea of bringing another female. They just didn't want it to be you. But you're mad at me. Why? Professor Sheena Howard, with her degree in comic book / communications, upset with me. Why? Because I let her keep talking. And oh yeah, my Twitter followership is way bigger. Even all these years later, she's been on the Breakfast Club and everything else, and we're still trampling her. I will never, ever, ever call you. I will never do it and ask you, why can't you this or why aren't you doing that? I'm smarter than you. I'm not saying that from an arrogant position. I'm saying it because my numbers prove it. I'm smarter. So I don't need to call you, criticize, or anything else. I just do what I do. Brother, that's what you do when you really do know something. You don't call other people. You get out there and do it yourself. Now, I'm sure he could probably run rings around me, plunging toilets and whatever else he does out there. Maybe he can. That's wonderful. If I need somebody to do that, I will call him. But where this is concerned, no, you can't teach me nothing. The fact you call me, that proves you can't teach me anything. And that's just the long and the short of it. What else did you want to say?
I was going to ask, in race wars, I know that you're still kind of putting everything. Is there any thought about talking to Ted Turner from CNN? One of the things that I'm hoping that you'll address is the need for real black media, and maybe someone like Ted Turner would be like a template on what he did to start CNN, that we as black can replicate, have our own black media, realizing that we're not going to have the same sponsorship with white-owned companies.
Okay, well, first of all, brother, that's the old media. television and cable TV. There's a reason why Professor Scott Galloway of NYU is on YouTube. He's talking about the death of the industrial advertising complex. His research at L2, he said that their research has come to one fundamental conclusion, that television is dead, that the networks are losing money except on sports, that if you remove sports from their equation, then the television networks really don't have anything to offer. Now, you will have outliers like Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, but except for a couple of shows at the very tippy top, the whole rest of that pyramid is hollow. That's the point they're trying to make. And the audience is moving to the internet. Hell, the audience is already on the internet. Years ago, Chuck Todd said it. He said that the audience is on the internet now. He said the internet. He said we used to say that in TV that we broke news. This Chuck Todd at NBC. He said we used to say that on television that we're the ones who broke news. That's not the case anymore. News breaks on the internet. And we here in broadcast television, we just comment on it. He said that a decade ago. A decade ago. You think of every single prominent news story that you can think of, it broke on the internet. All of them. Whether it's an NFL coach doing cocaine, whether it's Kevin Hart cheating on his wife, whether it's Donald Trump saying, let me grab him by the panties. I'm cleaning that up a little bit. Brother, there's not one significant news story that you can refer to that did not break on the internet. This is where it happens. This is where it goes down. This is it. So even if I had the chance to go to broadcast television, I wouldn't do a whole lot about. Think about this. If you want to know what's more powerful, think about this. When LeVar Ball went on Fox Sports 1 talking to Christine Leahy, and Christine Leahy tried to do the broadcast television high-tech lynching of him, you realize it was a guy with an internet program, Charlemagne, who turned that around and shut it down in a day. Cable television versus the internet. The internet won within 24 hours. Why on earth would you want to... That's very clear who has more clout and more heft. I couldn't imagine investing more money. That would be like Netflix investing more money in DVD rentals instead of their streaming video service. That's what it would be like. So, in my opinion, I already know what Ted Turner did. I wouldn't have to talk to him. I know what Bob Johnson did. I interviewed Brett Pulley, who wrote the book about it. I know what Bob Johnson did for BET. So, it's not a matter of whether we know what they did or not. We know what they did. I'm telling you that cable television as our competition is obsolete. I get more views than Roland Martin. He's on cable television. Christine Leahy got shut down by Charlemagne the God. She's on cable television. We don't have anything to look to those people for. They're not driving the events. They're not driving anything.
Well, one of the things you hit on that's pretty look at the AT&T acquisition of Warner Media, and you look at NBC, Comcast, and Disney, ABC. I'm asking your viewers, pay attention to this net neutrality issue that's been brought up, and the fact that the Justice Department is trying to block the acquisition of Warner Media.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with your phone.
Your point.
Your phone's volume keeps cutting in and out. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but your phone's volume keeps cutting in and out. I heard you say something about net neutrality. I don't worry about the old media companies, AT&T and whatnot. The consolidation of the old media, that's what they do. They're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep flopping over themselves. That's what they do. They are transmission portals. I'm more concerned about being a content provider. As far as net neutrality is concerned, they're going to overreach themselves, and when they do, people are going to recoil, and then it's really going to get bad for them. So, yeah, it's something to keep your eyes on. You definitely do want to be aware of it, but I think it's more important that we focus on what we do as content providers, because what are we doing? We're sitting here right now talking about how you need to watch those things like net neutrality and the cable networks. Yeah, but what we do is more important. What we do is more important because they try to form policy through acquisition. We can form policy through intellect and discussion. And they can hope that things like net neutrality do not become an issue, but because of what we say and do, it does become an issue. And by the way, did you notice your cable TV folks ain't saying nothing about that? Because they're bought and paid for. That's the way that works. People, the upshot of tonight's broadcast is you need to get serious. I've seen a lot of things that are very discouraging, and we need to get serious about it. In Zimbabwe, the new president-elect Mnangagwa, he's saying that he's going to compensate white farmers for land that was taken by Robert Mugabe's administration. You do not give restitution to a thief. Tell them that their restitution is that we will not put them in prison for the rest of their lives. That's your restitution. You came in possession of stolen property. You were aware it was stolen. You are owed nothing. Absolutely nothing. And all you Negroes who were going around cheering about, yeah, Mugabe gonna be gone, and we told you that this was only gonna put the white colonialists back in power, and you were saying, nah, that wasn't gonna happen. Yeah, you're already looking at the situation forming. When this man is coming in the door and his words are not what black people need to have, but what he intends to do for white folk, that gives you a pretty good telescope of what the future is going to hold. So congratulations to all you people who got rid of Mugabe and we're talking about, yeah, this will be the path to freedom. Welcome back to colonialism. That didn't take very damn long, did it? If you haven't been by our website, Black Channel Films, you definitely want to go and check out our documentaries, as was mentioned before, 7 a.m. and Gentrify, where I work on the other one here. We've got new stock for 7 a.m. in, so for those of you who have been waiting patiently, thank you very much. We do appreciate that. Those have begun going out, so be looking for those to be arriving here soon as we look forward into the future. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio program. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.